Welcome everybody to Season 2 of the NGE Shadowverse Open. It's been a long time since we've been on broadcast, but I'm super excited to welcome you guys back to a new and exciting season. There's lots of cool additions, lots of new changes to the tournament format, and there's also new people bringing you the action and the competition. I'd like to take some time to introduce to you guys our very first new Shadowverse commentary guest here. Aya Senpai, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. It's been a while since we've seen each other since MomoCon, but now I'm glad to be here doing more Shadowverse stuff with you, and of course joining us as well as Envy Bear. How have you been?
I'm good. What's up?
I think there's a lot of exciting Shadowverse games to watch, and I'm really excited for this this tournament coming up. So hopefully you guys are settled in a little bit now. Season 2 is a little bit new. It's a little bit fresh. We've got North America, of course, continuing on. Some of the champions from North America have moved on to Season 2 as well, and we'll explain some of that format. And we've added in EU, so let's take a look. Let's have a closer look at how Season 2 will play out. Now, we're going to find the top 12 players through 3 weeks of qualifiers. We are currently broadcasting Week 2. These 12 players will be divided into two groups, Group A and Group B, 6 players each. Now, we're going to play a round-robin format within those groups. That means each player in the group will play each other player in the group, and after that's all said and done, the top 3 from Group A and Group B will be sent to a double elimination playoffs bracket, and they will be seeded based upon their performance. These players are playing for a $16,000 prize pool, and that is per region. That's right, North America and Europe is finally added. We are in the European qualifiers right now today, and so we will see the next 4 players who will be qualified for the European season. Let's take a look at these qualified players and see who has made it so far. Of course, the first week has already finished. Essia, Kionis, Symphonus, Fatina, and then we are finding 4 more for the Week 2 invites, and of course, as you see on screen, there's going to be 4 more slots for the Week 3 invites, and that's going to round out our 12 players for Europe. Already we see EXG and Crimson Fencers representing in Season 2 of NGE, and so we're going to see how many more of these known players we're going to find, as well as how many more unknown players are going to be surfaced by this tournament. If you guys want to talk about Shadowverse or the Shadowverse Open or the new format or Season 2, anything like that, go to @ShadowverseGame, and you can tweet out anything you want. If you want to talk about our commentators, the fantastic Aya Senpai or the beautiful Envy Bear, make sure you add in the hashtag NSVO as well if you want to tell us who you think is going to win, or in this case, who you think is going to qualify for the tournament. And make sure you visit shadowverse.nge.io to figure out how you can sign up, where to watch the broadcasts, what the schedule is, and lots more cool information, especially headed down your way as the round robins get started for Season 2. But all that being said, the Shadowverse Open has a new format. Very exciting. We're going to be doing 3 deck, 1 ban. And I'd just love to kind of get some of your guys' thoughts about how you feel Shadowverse competitively has been growing. And Aya Senpai, maybe, what do you think about 3 deck 1 ban, and how do you think the season's going to play out, and how is it going to differ from Season 1?
Well, in Season 1, we saw a lot of the same decks in the finals, basically throughout the entire format. And what 3 deck 1 ban allows for the option of making just a little bit different, because you don't have to play against, that deck that you really don't want to play against. You can choose to ban it, and that actually I feel makes a really big difference in just tournament dynamics, and even in just for spectators, because now spectators get a chance to see decks that they may not have seen in just a 2-deck conquest format.
Right. And as we get our players ready to go, I believe our first match is going to be Menso versus EXG Sheepy. As we get our first match settled here, of course there's a lot of talk about the Wonderland Dreams meta, and maybe this question more posed for Envy Bear here. Of course, we're going to see Blood banned a lot. And I know we've been discussing as we've kind of been talking with each other and chatting. The two that seem to come up in your guys' minds for a response to when Bloodcraft is not dominating the field is Mid Shadow and Havencraft. Talk to me a little bit. Now, Mid Shadow should be more familiar if you watch Season 1 of the Shadowverse Open. But talk to me a little bit about Havencraft. How has it changed? How is it new? Is it still Aegis? What are the new inclusions in this deck?
Yeah, most of the Haven decks that we'll probably see will still just be on the Aegis plan. They could go, however, with the new March Hare's Tea Time into like a Garuda plan. But I do think if we see Haven, it'll be in the Aegis.
And March Hare's Tea Time, of course, for you guys that don't know. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to try to get all the details right. It's an amulet that you drop, it's 4 countdown, and it summons on Fanfare a Tin Soldier, which is pretty beefy for stats. Is it 4/5, I believe?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Evolves into a
that
5/6.
right. Yeah, and when it evolves, it deals 3 to a target, right? Target of your choice.
You're learning, man.
I'm learning. And what's really strong, and ISM, tell me about that turn 5, turn 6, and how that develops for Havencraft when they play March Hare's Tea Time.
Well, some Haven lists, actually a lot of them these days, will play March Hare's Tea Time on 5, evolve it, use it to shoot use the Tin Soldier to shoot something so they can take that out. And then once the opponent has dealt with the first Tin Soldier, they'll play Garuda, Winged Sentinel Garuda right after it, because it'll be countdown 3, and it'll pop the amulet and another Tin Soldier will come out. So now you got a 4/4 and a 4/5 on board, and that's also including whatever else you had on board before. So this can be an incredibly massive tempo swing. You're doing 3 damage to your opponent for playing the Garuda. You're getting 2 big bodies, and you could potentially do even more damage by evolving that Tin Soldier to shoot your opponent in the face and trade into something on the board. So massive tempo swing.
And I think this is really interesting because previously when you looked at turn 6 for Havencraft, right, we were kind of in the territory of Dark John or something like Themis' Decree. How do you think the flexibility of adding March Hare's Tea Time, is it something that you feel like will completely replace the other options or be largely the favorite option to go to, or do you think there's still space for Themis to live, space for Dark John to live? How do you feel about that, Envy?
I think that Themis will pretty much always be a card in this game.
Sure.
Dark Jun, though, I can see being cut. It's kind of awkward. Tea Time is a lot more focused and can go face, it can hit a minion, it can attack after it evolves, and then it has synergy with Garuda. Dark Jun is sometimes very awkward and not even playable. So.
Interesting. Well, the new expansion has certainly brought many new cards for all the different crafts, and as we're gearing up to jump into the first game, I'm actually kind of excited to see what alternate decks are being brought. Let's talk a little bit as kind of we're getting settled here. Let's talk a little bit about Runecraft. Now, I know that there's a lot of discussion about Runecraft where Dirt Rune has started to become more popular, as well as certain different archetypes of D-Shift as well. There's some changes to how Dimensional Shift decks have been playing out. In your mind, ISFI, what might be the most popular Runecraft deck we'll see today, if at all?
Well, I would definitely say D-Shift. 100%. D-Shift it's great against those slower decks. There's a lot of variations to it now, so it's kind of hard to pin down which one is which. So I would definitely go with D-Shift as the #1 pick for me.
Awesome. And we're jumping into the game here, so EXG, Sheepy, and Menso. And I'm going to lean on you guys to talk about this matchup here, Havencraft versus Dragon. And let's kind of talk about the mulligan first, I guess. That's a starting step.
All right. So Menso has a curve. He has 2 and 3. He doesn't have the 1, no goblin. But if he's going first, this could definitely be hard for Dragon to deal with, for sure.
Menso also doesn't really have any payoff here, but he is going to be on the draw, so okay, that's good. I was going to say, his hand was kind of like, it's got the 2 and 3, but it doesn't do anything afterwards, so.
Right. Well, he just drew Snow White, so that could be very interesting. That could be his 2-drop. That card's very sticky, hard to get rid of.
Definitely.
And I've kind of course, one of the staples of the One Land Dreams meta is that neutral craft package, right? Which we hadn't really talked about before the broadcast started, but the neutral craft package of having mostly a goblin on the 1-drop and then a 2-drop neutral, and then the 3 with the goblin leader, and most people are opting to take Alice on the 4. Do you think that's something that we would see in either of these crafts at all, or are they more aligned with how we would traditionally see Havencraft and Dragoncraft early game play out, ISMPI?
Well, this is definitely a different. This is basically, this version right now is a Tempo Haven list that runs the neutral package, exactly. So, I mean, you see basically all the usual suspects. You're kind of seeing right now, though, Dragon was able to deal with the board because Lyriel was played on 2. If Snow White was played, then that turn would have played out very differently. Would have been able to take out the Grimnir, probably would still have dealt at least some, damage, or at least have a better board position, but right now he has nothing.
Right, I think he was going for the ward protecting the 2/2 from the attack from Grimnir, but that kind of backfired from the spell, so...
Crystals of snow shimmer.
Oh, Princess Snow White. That's kind of a very popular card for Havencraft in the current meta. New card added in, and talk to us a little bit about some of the benefits of Snow White as a card and why it's so popular to pick right now, MV.
Snow White's actually, if you're on the play and your opponent plays Tove on 2, Snow White's the only 2-drop that can kill a Tove. So, if you're playing Haven, you almost have to play it. And it's also got neat little evolve tricks. So, it's just a solid 2-drop. It's probably one of the better 2-drops they can play right now.
Well, it certainly could trade into that Sybil, so that's useful if that's what you want to do with it. But I think Tina's going to do a little bit here. It's not going to be able to completely eliminate the Sybil, but I guess a Snow White is going to get away with just proccing the last word effect.
Well, yeah, so this line of play, he could have actually preserved an evil point here. He didn't necessarily have to use the Tina there. He could have just used the Snow White. But I'm very curious to know exactly what he was thinking with this particular line. If he's trying to play around Conflagration, I guess the Tina would survive a Conflagration, so maybe that's it. I don't know.
This does set up the most stats on the board, but yeah, I agree. It's definitely kind of... I don't know whether I call it greedy or just... I'm not sure. It does play around Conflagration, that is true.
Fighting is so cruel.
It kind of plays around... Well, it doesn't play around a Bahamut.
Pretty much anything could have come out of Dragon's Hand there to make sure at least Tina died, so she's not exactly the biggest evolve in the game.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That being said, too, when we look at Havencraft as well, I know last season a big topic was that Havencraft would never win a tournament in season 1 of the NGE Shadowverse Open. I feel like it's singing a very different tune. I think Havencraft is actually in a fairly good spot. It's definitely not the top of the top. It's not sitting alongside Blood, perhaps, but it's pretty effective, right?
Yeah, it definitely is. Haven right now, in this set, it got something it really needed, and it was a strong early game. And because Snow White is a card, so like it has a really strong early game, and even in its control variations, something it lacked before was just something meaningful or impactful in the early game without giving up tempo. And now they have Snow White, so yeah, it definitely has the tools now to be able to play in an early game to be able to be a contender in this format.
He's feeling hungry.
Definitely. I also think March Hare's Tea Time, giving them that mid-range kind of bridge if they want to go an aggressive route. Also, Lion is kind of like fallen off a little bit. Lion is not, 2 health and on some stuff is usually pretty useful, but it's not always the best clear. And Tea Time, like I said before, is a little more focused. So.
Oh.
Well, Lion's not really good right now because the neutral package just makes it worthless.
Yeah. Way too many stats. There's too many stats.
Yeah, too many stats.
Oh my gosh, are you guys looking at this? 2 Sibyls, basically back-to-back. Dragoncraft seems to have secured a pretty good spot on board. Now, the Havencraft player is pleading, right? There's 2 Sacred Pleas on deck.
Right.
What are we really looking to draw? And we didn't really get to see a deck preview, so not really sure. Oh my god, there's Alice as well. I'm actually a little... I feel like Havencraft typically is geared a little more towards a late game. Should we be a little worried right now for Menso at all? Do we think Dragoncraft is just about to run over Haven right now?
Yeah, I think that's what's about to happen. I mean, he would need to get some pretty good cards off of the first Sacred Plea to be able to handle this, because, you know, there is a Bahamut that he's going to play.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's holding a Bahamut, so flooding like that is interesting.
Yeah. Well,
there's a lion.
Yes, he's lying in the Golden City. He can play that. Dual Flames.
Oh man, he has no Evo points. There's a Bahamut on the table. And you know what's interesting is that Menso is actually a very successful EU Hearthstone player. Actually, so really excited to see him participating in this Shadowverse tournament here, and see how he's doing. He gets two Tigers out, but I'm still kind of worried. Bahamut is not a happy card to have live 1 extra turn.
No, it's not. But
Bahamut
unfortunately, he had no Evo points. He had no removal for it. Like, he just had nothing. So the best thing he could do was put as many things on the board as he could.
All right. Dragon Oracle is a play. Just looking for card draw. And that actually is interesting. Typically, I feel like Dragoncraft, by the time they get to this point, they have enough cards in hand, and there's so many late game cards that they have that... is that a tell that he had to play Dragon Oracle in this situation? What do you think he's searching for here?
Searching for
he could be searching for
so
Conflagration.
Can try to get some face damage, or at least get the board more clear for next turn.
That's right. Oh yeah, and that's absolutely right. And you make a good point, ISFI. Conflagration is a card that Dragoncraft players are using quite heavily now that wasn't seen at all before. It's just 4 damage for 7 play points across the board, correct?
Right.
Alright, looks like Ouroboros is the option here. We'll take down the lion. And
Yep,
1
but
tiger
that's
left.
getting banished.
Yeah, the perks of playing Havencraft.
Yeah, that's gone.
Crystals of snow shimmer in the night.
Alright.
Alright, so there's only one play here. Go face.
Still has to deal with the Bahamut here, but now at 9 defense and constantly having 3 fallers on board seems to be a fairly stable situation, I guess, for Menso. I think he's somewhat stabilized, but I still think the urgency is kind of top decking an answer that you would really look for the late game.
This board state's actually quite fragile. If Bahamut's able to hit face even once, this could explode.
Yeah,
That's a good
but
way.
he actually can take out the Bahamut.
He can banish it, in fact.
Yeah, he could take out the Bahamut. I mean, he'll be giving up his Snow White, but
Ooh.
it's something.
Interesting. So he's got Garuda in the deck. And
Yes.
the March Hares is there, but he didn't quite get that turn 5, turn 6 play that we were talking about, but it's definitely... I mean, he doesn't have Evo Orbs anymore, so the Tin Soldier is not quite as effective as before, but it's still a pretty good stat line, right?
Yeah,
That's definitely
it's
still
definitely
useful,
a
even
good
though it can't
stat line. Banishing that Bahamut is really good. Unfortunately, there's still 6 damage sitting on board, but it's something. And a Grim.
Oh no.
That's exactly what you don't want to see.
Oh, gosh. Hey, at least the Bahamut isn't there to accompany it. But still, a dire situation for Menso now. And this is kind of playing out to our expectations here regarding how we felt the board state was at kind of the 6-7 play point territory. And there's a tap out, so Menso is going to lose the first game here. And remember, we are using the 3-deck 1-ban format, so I would assume that maybe there was a Bloodcraft deck ban on either side, and so the 2 decks that they have fielded here, we're going to have to see what Sheepy has to offer as his alternate deck. And on Menso's side, the question is, do you stick with Havencraft or do you swap it up? And I think I would say, kind of in classic Conquest format, stick to your guns. Evie, do you have any thoughts about playing under Conquest format? What would you recommend for Mensa? Would you switch your craft or would you stay with Haven?
I think staying with Haven's fine. I mean, that game didn't go exactly as planned, obviously, but it was close. And honestly, Bahamut just applied way too much pressure, which you're not going to see again. So,
Talk to me a little bit about this matchup, Rune versus Haven. Now, we are a little bit more familiar with this Havencraft deck after seeing it go through one game here. What are the advantages of running Haven against Rune?
Well,
Haven just has access to a lot more board control than a lot of other factions. Black Inscriptures against Black Inscripture against a lot of rune strategies are really good, as well as Themis, as long as he's not going for the D shift strategy. Which, if he is, we know this is Garuda Haven, so that's a great matchup.
unfortunately, though, his hand is a lot to be desired against Rune. Since this is Onion Sheep and I'm very familiar with his playstyle, this is very likely D-Shift. And if this is actually D-Shift, then Haven's gonna have to draw some really good cards right now.
Right this moment.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh, all three.
That's not what you want to be drawing.
So Black Inscripture, for newer players out there, Black Inscripture, 2 play points, banish any follower 3 defense or less. And in terms of Runecraft, it's actually not that common that would be a super valuable play, and especially if you're playing D-Shift, it's kind of, followers don't really appear until they're Flame Destroyers that have tons of points.
This is actually Dirt Rune, though, as the Dwarf Alchemist would advertise.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting matchup. Like historically, I'm not sure about this particular patch, but historically, Dirt Rune can clog up Garuda Haven and slow them down. But with Margier's Tea Time, he might be able to punch through and make this a good matchup.
I actually feel this matchup is in Haven's favor. Haven, with better starts than he's had so far, would actually be putting a lot of pressure on Rune right now. And since this is the time where you want to be pressuring Dirt Rune, when you get to like that turn 5, turn 6 margin, Master Mage Levy, then the game just completely shifts in the Rune's favor.
For sure.
Master Mage Levy is a new card edited in Wonderland Dreams.
Come gather round.
And continues a trend of next expansion. I think we'll have Baby Levy. I think that's the next card that we have in line.
Blue Eyes Ultimate.
I'll buy
it.
Oh man! Oh, banish the Illusionist. Do it. Banish.
He does have the option to banish Illusionist or develop, literally anything this turn. If he spends 2 turns banishing things, I'm not sure if that's going to pay off for him.
You're probably right.
I don't think he can do that. I think I agree with Envy here. Like, right now, he's already behind. I mean, he's pretty behind right now. So,
I love the
I
Grimnir
actually
here.
100% agree with his Grimnir play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it forces him to deal with it, and it allows him to develop at least somewhat of a board. If he can't take out the Grimnir, then at the least he can play the Lyrial into the Black Inscription next turn. Again, using his play points a little better.
Mm-hmm. Just a little more efficient, and still getting the benefit of sidestepping that whole Magic Illusionist last word effect, which I think Earthright, it just summons him again if he dies.
That is correct, yeah. He eats the oldest Earthright, so he won't actually eat the Witch's Cauldron immediately. He'll eat the Iron Scrap first.
Oh, interesting. That is an interesting effect, because you would much rather the Witch's Cauldron.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. But it depends on the order that it was played, and since the Scrap Iron Smelter was actually played first, it'll eat that one first, and then it'll eat the Witch's Cauldron afterwards.
There you have it. Little tidbits. The things you would not know unless you played a lot.
I actually
He does
play
have
a
3
lot.
mana left to work with, but I can't imagine that's anything other than maybe a Dwarf Alchemist.
There it is. Wow. Look at you go.
Excellent call.
Right.
Well done.
Excellent call, Envy.
And now he can't actually do that play like you said. The Banishing Delirial and getting rid of this ward is great too, because it doesn't look that menacing, but it's stopping you from attacking literally anything on the board, so...
Yep.
He's gonna ping face probably, I would assume. And then swing the Lyriel into the ward and face with Grimner. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
I guess that's a cleaner way of doing it.
Yeah, he doesn't lose the Grimnir.
Yep. Opts to go less damage to face, but better board control, which I suppose is a good kind of mentality shift. Because, I mean, I would imagine if you're fighting against D-shift, you kind of want to rush face damage, but because this isn't, you know, your approach might be a little bit different.
I
think just when you're up on cards, until he's able to consume that Cauldron, you're up on cards as Haven here, so just being as aggressive as you probably could with the board, if you control the board, there's not really many options he's going to have per turn. Because remember, if you leave Dwarf Alchemist on the board, they can just evolve it and search. It'll pull any random Earthright card out of their deck, which could be Master Mage Levi, which could be really bad.
Now, what is the likelihood? I guess Master Mage as well as Taboo are the kind of two contenders for the 6 play point spot.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much.
Although I would be very concerned about him playing Master Mage Levy because he didn't play something this turn, so it's almost like he's baiting him into playing more on the board. So this line is much safer and is more resistant to the Master Mage Levy play, because then he can actually play his Lion next turn and pop one of the amulets in his hand to develop a board after the Master Mage Levy is played, if Onion Sheep does indeed play it.
Oh, there's Taboos.
And yeah.
This card is so annoying.
It is.
It's a great Taboos. It's gonna draw him a card and kill both minions.
And he's gonna, yeah. Gosh, that was so good. Oh my god, look at that.
Taboos can
He
snowball.
went from no board to instant board.
It's actually all of a sudden really bad. However, he could play Lion onto Tea Time here. You do waste one of the 10 soldiers, but you develop more stats. Unless you want to leave some zombies up.
He's also sitting on 2 Evo points, so he can Evo at that, and yeah.
There he goes.
He's got the line for 4. Chooses a Beast
Call.
Call.
He went with the Beast Call Arya.
That's actually better, because the bird actually kills one of the zombies.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does kill one of the zombies, although he still would have been able to kill a zombie shooting with the March Hares.
Right.
But at the very least, he gets the value from the Beast Call Arya now, whereas like if he plays the March Hares later, then he'll actually still be able to use the 10 soldier, and if he draws a Garuda, then he can just tempo swing again.
All right,
So he's got a lot of things that want to evolve. That 2 March Hares tokens, and then the Fairy. But the Fairy is not very useful with this current hand. He doesn't have any neutrals out except for Lyriel.
Right.
I definitely think this is a second game in a row where I feel like Menso is just waiting on options, doesn't quite have them in hand, and doesn't necessarily have anything that speeds up that process. It feels like his deck is kind of somewhat living on a dream, if you will.
I think he's honestly just getting kind of bad draws with it, because that's like the opposite of what Garuda Haven usually does. Usually Garuda Haven is very aggressive, you know, it's off the races immediately, and it keeps that pressure the whole time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Wow.
There it is. Speak of the devil.
Yeah. Not exactly like the best thing to draw right now, because he can't really do anything with it, but this is actually a really good spot for him to be in. And he still does have an Evo point left.
Right. Just knowing you have that in hand for next turn is great. He can push a lot of damage next turn.
Alright, well, 3 cards in hand.
It's a tough spot for Onion Sheep.
I am a fiction.
This could be really bad.
3 play points, 3 spells? What is the likelihood? He draws some.
I would say at least 1 spell. Just 1.
Just 1?
Just one.
All right. Come on.
Sometimes when you play Oz, you sometimes don't hope that you hit a lot of spells, just because if your opponent already has the board and they kill the Oz, you're just gonna banish whatever you drew anyway. So he does have the mana to cast those 3 cards, but if they were minions, they'll probably end up going further.
I'm just a mage.
Oh, ooh, disappointing. We wanted the younger one.
Right.
Well, he could still have that. He couldn't cast it. So.
Yeah. Just not showing up. Do you think? Actually, is a consideration that Levi is like Benjamin Button? And he just
Maybe.
grows younger over time.
Maybe it's possible.
All right, and we were talking about this turn.
His 10 soldiers.
About to be a lot of
It's gonna
damage.
kill Oz too. I bet he doesn't banish anything. I'm calling it. No banish.
Death is another fiction.
There it is.
I am a flower.
It's beginning of next turn, I
bloom
do.
on stage.
Hey.
There it is. What a good guess. There you are.
So if
2
he
for
does
2.
have Master Mage Levi here, it's going to be pretty good for him. He'll kill the 5/2 and the 2/2. So.
He definitely needs to take control of the situation here, and the fact that he pinged not one of the other cards means that there was no
Right.
Master Mage.
There's no Master Mage. Correct, yeah.
I'm through.
Oh no! Oh, there it is.
Oh no!
Hey, so
Good
super
support.
interesting. Yeah, super interesting. So Menso was able to come back and win it. So we are 1-1 now, Sheepy versus Menso. And I think this is. Are you guys? This is a good question to pose to you guys. Aya first, and maybe Envy. Are you actually familiar with Menso as a player competitively in community tournaments at all, or do you think that this is kind of his first foray into competitive Shadowverse?
Well, I know he's participated in a few of my tournaments. He's done okay, but nothing really stood out. But I'm glad to see he's doing well here.
And what about Envy? Have you kind of seen Menso around at all? Do you know what his experience is competing in Shadowverse?
I have never casted for Menso or seen his name.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting. Well,
the
he's
European
holding up
scene,
pretty
I'm
well.
not too into that.
He's definitely holding up pretty well against EXG, which is one of the most well-renowned, I would say, teams in Shadowverse right now.
They're one of our oldest too. So.
So 1-1 here, Runecraft versus Shadow, and we talked a little bit about this. We're taking it back. And I feel like Shadowcraft is one of the most untouched decks. I think the biggest change probably for mid-range Shadow between Tempest and Wonderland Dreams is actually now mid-range Shadow is running much more along the Lurching Corpse Necro Assassin line. It seems like most people are favoring bringing that as opposed to the other kind of slight differences. How do you think Mid Shadow will perform against Dirt Rune here, Envy?
It really depends. Honestly, I haven't seen enough of this matchup, but I will give this to Shadow just because I remember how good they were, and they didn't really, like you said, they're playing almost the same thing. So I think people are sleeping on Shadow a little bit. They're still really powerful. So.
Well, Menso certainly identified it as one of the decks that he would like to bring. And the EXG Sheepy on round 2 with the Runecraft. Oh, look at that! He's back.
He gave Sheepy an amazing trade there. So.
Yeah.
Talk about having Shadow get a taste of its own medicine. If there's any deck where I killed the card and now it's back, it would be mid-range Shadow, right?
Right.
And drew a card off of it too.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Value.
Oh,
Well, I mean, this is a pretty easy 3, right? You just play the Bone Chimera and pass.
Yeah, I think the Bone Chimera is all you can do here, really.
Yeah. There's really no reason to do anything else. And I've noticed in all of Minso's games, he's been on the draw.
That's
He's been
interesting.
on the
Yeah.
draw with less, really kind of weird hands. And he's always had Lyriel, too. It's like all 3 games.
Yeah.
He's had those
Every
3
game.
things.
Lyriel is certainly a popular card, but yeah, you guys are right. Interestingly enough, and I think the going first, going second kind of discussion in Shadowverse has been really kind of well thought out and well discussed in terms of just like everybody is really talking about it. The trend definitely leaning towards players going first, having the slight advantage. Is that even the case for a deck like Burn Rune? Is that as pronounced as maybe? I know, for example, Mid Shadow would love to be going first in this scenario, but what about for Burn Rune?
Well, personally, I love going on the draw as Burn Rune, but in this position, I definitely would. Against Shadow, I would definitely like to play. Before you can do a lot of damage before they develop a board, and it forces Shadow to have to play its game versus the other way around. So I definitely would prefer to be, I prefer to be first if I was Burner in this matchup, which Onion Sheep happens to be.
I think there's honestly really, both sides of that argument are fine, because Burn Rune's probably the only deck in the meta that has everything wants to evolve or can evolve for value.
Right.
So that third evolve really could matter. Also playing taboos or New Levi against their 5 mana play, if you're on the play, that's also really strong too. So I mean, honestly, any deck is strong going first, but Burn Rune's probably the only one that I would say might want to go second.
It's an interesting point. And certainly Sheepy was able to get already 7 damage, 5 turns in, and kind of Dirt Rune is very notorious for being able to kind of push damage to face, kind of regardless, using either spells or just having such good board presence early on, or efficiencies through Earthright. So I would say Sheepy is probably in a pretty good spot, and we still haven't seen the Wizardess come through yet.
These dwarves.
Is that the third
That's what
one?
I'm talking about right there. It's one of his evolves is gone now, and it was just used for 1 extra damage, so...
Well, the thing is that Minso hasn't really, done much this game, and Onion Sheep has kind of been under, he's been under control of basically everything. As you notice, he hasn't taken any damage. He's drew a card off of the Dwarf Alchemist, so I would probably guess Master Mage Levy or Halo Golem he got. So
Which exactly is what he wants to get aggressive with this. I think he's probably realized that Menso's hand is cloggy and wants to end before 7 happens, so...
Exactly.
It's cloggy. That's a good... It's cloggy. I like that. Your hand is cloggy. Get some Drano.
Well, this hand is made of some high quality bricks right now, man.
It definitely is.
Dang it.
It's bad, too, because if you soul convert before Zombie Party here, I guess you could, but, I don't know.
There it is.
It's actually...
He's got 2 of them. 2 Hectors. But he might die before he can even play it.
I'm actually surprised it didn't soul convert the Lurching Corpse. He seems to be saving Lurching Corpse.
Yeah.
Maybe for a Master Mage Levi?
Yeah, I guess it would, in response to Levi being dropped, destroy the Levi, right?
I suppose that's fair, but now then he's sitting with a soul conversion in his hand that does absolutely nothing.
Exactly. He's got 3 7-drops. That's his next turn play. What do you mean?
Well, obviously he's on 6 play points next turn, so that's not valid.
That's true.
They will trade, actually.
There it is. Hey.
He's out of plays now. He doesn't have soul conversion.
Oh no! I bet you. Oh
Wow.
god! Oh god!
Oh my gosh.
The guy can build a house with the amount of bricks he's attained today in just this one match.
Excellent.
I'm just a mage who's as old as dirt.
That's one off.
It's just like back in
Insane.
the
This
old
pressure
days.
is insane.
You gotta feel for the guy at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's dead. That's what I'm feeling
He's
right
playing a mid-range deck that drew its entire top card, so that's just... sometimes it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is probably definitely dead, though.
Probably, definitely good. That's a good probability. I'd take that. Probably
about
definitely.
110% chance.
Wow. All right.
Even
Oh God.
That's very
that's
unfortunate.
dead man.
Hey, well, here's the situation. So EXG Sheepy actually doing very well, and I think EXG Sheepy came along with some very strong lineups. We talked about Runecraft a little bit before, and we got to see exactly its strength here in Master Mage Levi showing itself off in quite good form, as well as kind of Taboo was really good as well. couldn't take the win off that particular match, but just going to show how strong Rune is, and I think that he played out really well. So EXG Sheepy, now we are running a double elimination tournament, and that was the winners semis. So EXG Sheepy will move on and be in winners finals. Meanwhile, Menso is not down and out. That's not the last we've seen of him. He's going to take his Havencraft deck, he's going to take his Shadowcraft deck and move down to the losers bracket here. And so we'll get to see him a little later as the tournament progresses and see if he can make his way back all the way to the winners final or the grand finals here. Maybe getting a rematch against EXG Sheepy, maybe not bricking as much. But I really feel like that was the theme of the match. We have coming up Catch versus Durcello, if I'm reading that name right. Two new names, and that's actually something interesting to talk about. There are a lot of new kind of names that are coming into the Shadowverse competitive scene, and now that we're on a new time slot, we're on the weekend, more people can play. Who do you think, in your mind, Aya Senpai, that we haven't really got to see a lot of in Season 1, do you think is kind of a favorite in Season 2 now?
Oh man, that's hard to answer. I can't really answer that question without being 100% biased.
let me know your biases.
I'm
actually,
taking the fifth.
You're taking the
that
fifth.
one.
I want to know. What is Aya Senpai's bias, and I'm going to record it here for eternity.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm going to have to root for my boys. But if I wasn't, it's hard to say for EU. Just again because
Sure.
In EU, there was no EU, so
Right.
it's kind of hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were to vote on EU players that I know right now, it'd be Fatina.
It'd be Fatina. Is that the same for you as well, MV?
I think I have to agree. Yeah, Fatina's a very strong player. There are a few other names that I do know, but I think I would reserve judgment for anybody until a few weeks in. We need to see EU a bit more before.
That's for sure.
But yeah, I do agree. Fatina's a very strong player.
That's for sure. And, the interesting thing, too, is that for North America, it's going to be very different as well. So not just Europe is going to feature quite a lot of new names and surface a lot of pro players here, but the North American scene, it might look a lot different. I mean, we had big names like Manisters Noah and Les doing very well, and of course, in the playoffs bracket, Jay-Z and Exodium, but these names might be very different. So we're going to jump into our second winners semi match. It's going to be Durzello versus Catch on the bottom side. Catch using Shadowcraft and Durzello using a Rune. So quite possibly we have there's a few, we were talking about this a little bit. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably the Queen of the Dread Sea D-Shift combo. I feel like it. Actually, it's hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to tell from this hand on Durzello's side. But I would definitely venture to say that, this is definitely a D-Shift variant.
Yeah. Yep, definitely
I don't know
D-Shift.
which one yet.
I think actually he has a few too many yeah, because typically you wouldn't run any other spell boost than D-Shift if you're using the Dread Sea, right?
It's short for
Well, if you're playing that version, no, you're not. And
Yeah.
he's definitely not playing Dread Sea because he has Flame Destroyer in his
Yep.
hand.
Yep.
So
Because the idea is that you just isolate the D-Shift card, right? So that's the only thing you get, and you don't even necessarily need spells because the Dread Sea will turn its cost to 0. So
Right.
there we go. That's
It's
a
got a
pretty
very
good starting
interesting hand
hand.
going on.
Yeah.
He's got Petrification for the Mordecai that we saw, V-Mulligans, and he's also got Fire Chain, which is a card we haven't seen in a long time.
Fire Chains. Tell me
That's
about
very
that card.
interesting.
Educate me about this history. What is this
All
Fire
right,
Chains
so-
card?
Alright, so Fire Chain is a card that deals 1 damage to a random follower, and then it gets spell boosted by 1 for every spell you play. So you play a lot of spells, it could potentially act as a massive AoE. And for people who don't know what AoE means, that's an area of effect card, something that affects multiple things on the board at once. So it could wipe a board if it got big enough.
This looks like a picture-perfect D-Shift hand so far. You've got 2 instances of D-Shift, you got the Flame Destroyer going, you have Insight, you have a bunch of spells that you've already played. What more could you wish for? I guess Sorcery Cache?
Focus on your environment.
Well, he
Well,
would
there's no
definitely
insight,
want
it's a
cards
petrification.
that
But yes, you would wish for Fate's hand. You need Fate's hand desperately, or you're a turtle, and then you need Sorcery Cache for sure.
You're a turtle.
No.
Oh, man. Is that an insult?
No, definitely. He's got Witch Bolt
That
in here
is a
as well.
Witch
He's got a lot of like tech board control type cards.
Yeah.
We may actually see a petrification.
He's taking a substantial
on
amount of
Athena.
damage, though.
That's true. He's
Yeah.
already down to 12. I actually
Yeah,
was not focusing on that.
he could just die next turn if he doesn't petrify Tina.
Yeah.
Of course, and we also see Catch has Kawi in hand, which can be quite frustrating. I know a lot of people have been kind of refocusing their attention on Kawi recently, kind of the benefits of having that healing as well as pretty much a hard stop to tons of different sources of damage. How do you feel he fits into the D-Shift matchup? I don't necessarily think that... I mean, it could mess up your turn, right? A Flame Destroyer that would originally just kill you in one turn might have to actually heal you up. Could be very useful.
That actually used to be a thing when D-Shift was like really popular. That was definitely a thing. If a Kawi hit the right destroyer for the Shadow player and the wrong one for the rune, subsequent dimension shifts just wouldn't matter. Like they would just lose lethal because Shadow would gain that life, and they would also lose the attacker, which 7 damage adds up over 3 turns. So.
Focus on your inferno.
All right, more Tinas to be had, and down to 8 now for Dorzello, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good for Runecraft
It's
right now.
definitely not looking good right now. He's in a pretty bad spot over there.
It's a pretty good draw, but
the glow will do something though. The glow will bounce,
It can bounce the corpse.
Religion Corpse.
There it is, and that's the play.
Bolt.
And
That's good.
And he got the Witch Bolt, so he can use that to remove the Tina.
Golem Assault, and then the Witch Bolt, perhaps. Come on.
It's literally his only line.
Oh man.
This is still, like, if he had been drawing Fate's Hands and Sorcery Caches, he would have lethal next turn. Like, 7, 8, 9 the latest is when D-Shift looks to kill, but because he drew 0 draw spells the whole game, he's nowhere near that, so...
That's a really good point, and that's kind of one of the... So we talked about a little bit about the Dreadsea variant, which maybe we'll see later on today. And if we do, kind of the big difference is Dreadsea has the hard cutoff of, like, turn 10 is when you play, right? As opposed to D-Shift, which depending on your draw can cause you to pull the trigger much earlier, but this just doesn't seem to be a case. What do you guys think about that consistency? Aya Senpai, what do you think about the consistency between being able to have maybe a more guaranteed turn 10 closing, or just relying on your draw and relying on your hand for the traditional D-Shift deck?
Well, even with the guarantee, the thing is, you may be guaranteed to have it in your hand, but you're not guaranteed to live till turn 10. So, I mean, in tournament, it's a little bit more likely. People tend to play a little slower, and whatnot. But there's no real guarantee in that regard. However, with a more traditional build, you're definitely playing towards that goal. So, me personally, I would just go more traditional. Just try to, play towards, the D-Shift the normal way, the way it was before.
Oh my god.
Resurrect the
Oh my god.
6-2. It's no big deal, just a 6-2.
Oh, there
yeah.
you go.
Can actually draw a card off that Witch Bolt. Which could be... Does he have lethal? Oh. Is Destroyer at... Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think he had lethal. Yeah, he didn't have lethal.
He does, right? Because he evolved
Oh,
and
wait,
he can
does he?
D-Shift again.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
D-Shift's at
D-Shift,
7.
yeah.
You're right, he does.
Yep.
Yeah, D-Shift at 7.
Surprise D-Shift!
magic.
He's looking at the second shift.
That's it. And we talked about it, right? That, like, you hit that point where... And that's the benefit of drawing all 3 of your pieces, or all 2 of your pieces, right? The Flame Destroyer and the D-Shift early, is because basically what gave him the win was the fact that the Flame Destroyer cost 0, right? And that was basically it. And I actually think the ultimate... The interesting thing was actually Catch's decision to play the Pact of the Nether God as opposed to playing the Kawi. And we talked about how that choice is actually really important in that matchup. I think maybe the safer line of play, and if he was respecting D-Shift a little bit more, would have been to understand, like, hey, we're getting pretty far into the game here. Let's play the Kawi, and then, try to work out how to get that last bit of damage afterwards. What do you think was the more optimal, correct play there Do you think it was justifiable to skip the Kawi in that situation, Aya Senpai?
I don't know. I don't think I agree with the line of skipping the Kawi. You don't know that your opponent has removal. He certainly couldn't have known he had petrification in hand. He couldn't have known that. So, like, there was nothing that hinted towards an idea of him having a petrification in hand. So, Kawi in that position just would have been the much better play. It could, even if it was just a turn, it could have, made a huge difference. So yeah, like I said, there was nothing to indicate that he would know that there was a petrification throughout the entire match. So Kawi should have been played on the turn.
Kawi's a 4/5, and there was a 5/5 golem on the board. So had he chose to play Kawi, it would have just died, and he would have lost the same way.
Right. He was at 20 health already. You can't go higher than that. So.
But that's true too.
He did have to make a proactive play, and the Kawi would have just died on board. So.
Interesting. So kind of a tough situation that we put it in. I think that mid-range, or rather, I guess it wasn't really mid-rangey. I mean, you have like a Tina, like it's kind of a weird brand of Shadowcraft. Now that I think about it, Pact of the Nether God. You've got Kawi. I didn't see any Ectors as well.
I haven't seen an Ectar. I haven't seen any of those.
He's got Mordecai, so it's definitely a last word oriented deck.
This looks like his Onion Sheep is playing a neutral Haven list with Darkjan in it.
He's planning on extending the dream. He wants the road not to stop at 4, but he wants to go through the 5 and the 6.
Yeah.
I guess with the Alice buff up, you wouldn't kill all your 2 play point neutrals. Maybe, I don't know. That's kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah, Giselle's in a really good spot.
It puts the goblins at 1 defense, but they still live and get buffed. I'm not sure. I don't know. I like I said before, Darkshun sometimes has some weird turns where you just can't even play her, and we might see that this game.
Well, this is I actually misspoke a second ago. I said that Darzello was in a good position. He's actually not in such a good position anymore. This Tina in hand's gonna clear up this board pretty good.
Yeah, Tina probably getting so much more, seeing so much more play after people are starting to play neutrals now.
Definitely, yeah.
That 5 damage is just incredible. And even, like, sometimes I actually think it's even just overkill, Like, there's some world where I was like, why don't you just do 3 damage to everything instead of just 5 damage to, But...
Well, 3 damage to everything would be incredibly powerful for her.
Yeah, that would be way too good.
Yeah, that would be very strong. But Marcher's tea time. He opted to skip the fanfare.
Well, he gets a 5/5 and a 5/6 because he's evolving this. He could, what he could have opted to do was shoot that to preserve the defense on there, but I guess he wanted to just do more damage, which is fine. The downside to that is it's now susceptible to this Undying Resentment.
Drizzle has a really explosive turn coming up, actually, if not too much removal is used here.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to. I mean, he's really threatening a lot of damage here, and so Catch needs to play out this situation very carefully.
He's threatening lethal.
Yeah.
If at least Undying Resentment has to happen. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I'll show you.
It looks like
now he's sitting on a very blood turn.
Yeah.
I mean, his best play is what?
That's interesting.
He's gonna take a lot of face damage. It's not quite lethal, but I mean,
well, remember that Darkshun will also buff that 5.
Yes.
So
that's true too.
and he won't be able to banish it this turn. If he could banish it, that'd be amazing. If he had 1 more mana, but
yeah, the Darkshun into the Blackened Scripture. He's got Actress Faria, looking cool, but not very usable.
Right.
Oh my God! Look at the damage.
The thing is, I completely agree with this line of play. I see literally no reason for him not to have gone for that line. And Ledger.
is he just going for a Cowie? or
Well, I don't think he can get Kawi because Ledger
you're
gets
right.
for
He
the
can't. He
amount
has
of
to be
people
lower.
less.
He's actually just gonna die. He's gonna play Grimner and die.
No!
And you play Grimner. Wait, what?
Why would you play that?
This is Lurch.
Never mind.
Oh my god! There it is, yep.
He must not play Attendant of Knights. He must not play anything
He
else
knew.
that Ledge decks
He knew.
usually play.
Yeah.
Well, we stand corrected.
Banish the Unica.
I mean,
Yes.
You know,
Send the Unica back.
I'm
So-
sure Catch knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah. No, that was really good. And obviously he knows his deck very well here. Oh god, and the Kawi as well. Not the biggest heal, but
man.
still, anything is nice now. And Durzello is just out of ammunition, right?
He's out of gas.
Even just that Mordecai is a huge deal because he's also got Grimner online soon. So
Yeah, the Mad Cyclone version of Grimner. The real angry one. Oh, it's definitely the right answer to Soul Convert.
Really
It's-
nice, yeah.
Hey, it's the Soul Conversion.
Please,
Please, conversion.
don't let it get banished!
Soul Come on,
Please, Soul Conversion.
please catch this, Catch.
Oh no! I mean, I can
name's
see from
Catch.
Catch's point of view, like, it's only
No,
one card in hand.
Mordecai.
Right? How do you... It's only one card. What's the likelihood that that would be black in scripture?
100%.
Oh man.
100%.
I mean, even still, man.
100%.
Like, you don't want to use your. I mean, okay, he still has double Grimnir, right? But
Yeah,
I
he's still
just
got double
don't
Grimner.
get why
This
he
is
wouldn't
totally-
draw the cards.
Totally still his game. He's got triple.
Oh
Grimner.
my
Yeah.
god! Oh god.
There's no way he loses this game. It doesn't matter.
My parents told me never to judge anybody, especially by their appearance or outward looks. And
They should have taught that lesson to Grimnir.
yeah, Grimner just does not care. He just judges everybody. That's why people don't like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
still
not
hate
the
Grimnir
free
with
board
passion.
way.
Yeah, exactly. It's both. It's a combination of that as well as his voice line.
Yeah.
Oh,
It just makes
perfect.
you feel awful.
I envy you. All right, so Catch will bring it back, tying the series up to 1-1. Durzello, I feel like Durzello was looking really, really good for the majority of the game, but at some point, I guess when you stretch to 10 play, to be fair, okay, the Death Ledger turn was pretty incredible, and back-to-back having the ability to just remove twice, that Death Ledger was incredibly valuable. I would almost say
Yeah,
you would prefer the Death Ledger over the Nethys because you got that delayed effect of one each turn, right? As opposed to everything happening on that same turn.
Yeah, he knew what his deck was capable of. He wanted the removal. He got it. With the Lurching Corpse off of the Death Ledger, that was the swing that got him back in the game.
All right, so oh my God, we're gonna see a Havencraft mirror.
Bear all you know.
What is this
I'm a
world
happy
we
man
live
right
in?
now.
Peace be yours.
Oh,
Neutral
there's
Havencraft.
Atlas. Okay, yeah. Well, we kind of already knew that the neutral package was in Durzello's Havencraft.
Right.
The question is, what is in Catch's Havencraft deck? I think these are
whole
very
hand.
not indicative cards of anything, because like March Hares is kind of a okay, fine, like bring it, right? In almost every Havencraft deck, Grimner is one of those cards, and so is Black Inscription, so it's not super telling.
Durzello actually has an amazing hand if he just starts playing
Yeah.
neutrals immediately.
However, Catch doesn't.
Catch's hand is it's symmetrical. It was.
It's very even.
It was a palindrome for a while there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, another Alice. Durzello is
This
just
is-
drawing everything he needs.
Yeah. This
The only
is-
unfortunate part of this situation, I feel like, is Durzello's going second. If he was going first, this would be out of the park.
Nah, you won't notice it. Double Alice and you won't notice it.
The pain goes away. Banishing back and forth.
That's a Haven mirror.
Yep.
It's just
Oh
so
my-
strong for Alice to be able to buff things in hand as well. I think that's definitely the thing that changes her from like a pretty strong card to a very, very, very strong card. I feel like you just can't miss
Now-
out.
Now, what might happen is that line of the Golden City is at 5. Next turn, he could play that, pop the dual flames in hand, and he's gonna have the 5/5 and 2 4/4s.
Oh my god.
It's like a better
But
Daria.
he might be playing into a top deck Themis, right? Right, guys? That's what.
That would have to be the most Hail Mary of Themis Decrees.
I feel like because I
So-
said it, it's gonna happen now.
I think
Just
that's
because
my
I said
talent. I don't know if that's yours.
I'm sorry,
That's a good
Gisela.
play. Oh no, Angel.
That's some value.
Man.
That's some value.
Yeah.
And that lion is still gonna get buffed up if he does.
Right.
Yeah. Because
Play the Angel,
yeah.
can play the Feria, then play Alice next turn. That lion's almost free.
yeah.
Is God's word.
Value.
Oh my God, Angel of the Word. It was such. It was a pretty good neutral card before the whole Wonderland Dreams happened, and now it's just even more reason to be like, cool. This card's great.
Yeah, that card's amazing.
Lots of Tin Soldiers coming out here, but only a few Evo points left for Catch. And I feel like the momentum is all on Derzello's side. He's just riding that wave of cards in hand that he got right from the start.
Lands of marvels.
Do you guys get the feeling that Catch is trying to bluff a Themis Decree?
I'm a flower. I bloom
I get the
on
feeling he's
stage.
really hoping he draws
The
one.
real battle
Oh God, look at the stats! Look at the stats!
I see.
Triple Alice effect.
That's disgusting.
And then to back it all up, he's still got a 2-mana 5/5
Themises.
that puts 2 4/4s on
Oh.
the board.
Ooh, well, it can take a significant amount of damage off the board.
So, I mean, he can combine Tribunal and Blackened Scripture, right?
You
Yes.
want to
remove
play
two.
the Black and Scripture first.
Yes, to make sure the Tribunal targets the more relevant cards.
Right. He could only hit the Actress Feria because that has 2.
He actually could
So,
instead just
with
dogma
the-
one of these and then get the entire board gone.
Yes.
If he shoots the 6/2, attacks the 4/4, plays Tribunal for the 5/6, he actually clears the whole board this turn.
That's true.
There you have it. That's the play. And that's
I
why I
don't know
need
if Catch sees
coaching.
that though. Unfortunately.
There it
Hey!
is.
Is that a white
spotted it.
tiger? What?
The White Tiger.
I like this.
The real battle
He's playing white tiger. Interesting.
I like that card a lot.
Show's over.
You know, it's an interesting card, but it's probably not the single most competitive thing out there.
Well, okay, sure.
3-mana 3/2 ward is kind of awkward.
They can't get it. They have to run into it.
Yeah, but I mean, it could have been a Grimnir with reverse stats
My boss works us to the
and much more useful later.
I think it'd be really good if it was a Grimnir with reverse stats.
With the reverse stance. Yeah, that's a way to put it.
Ugh, this lion, a 1-mana
Oh.
lion. No.
Disgusting.
So, basically, Derzello now has committed all his ammunition, right? All the hopes and dreams, everything, you know, we were looking at Derzello and we're like, oh, he's an A-grade student, he has such a bright future ahead of him. This is it. This is the end of the road. If he gets stopped here, and luckily there wasn't a Themis on the draw, but he's actually in a really bad spot if he gets stopped here.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's nothing in Catch's hand that's gonna deal with
White tiger.
There's a White Tiger. Yep.
Which dies to the bird.
He's got double ward here,
He does have double ward, yeah.
and
Although
he's
by
got
killing
curate.
something, he did give Derzello an extra tiger. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
he killed the 3/3 to give Derzello a 4/4. I'm not sure if that was worth it.
That's true. That's true. Still a very dangerous board state, but I feel like Catch has to be sitting there praying to whatever divine beings he believes in right now. Because there's definitely cards that could answer this situation for Havencraft. He just needs to
Well,
walk into them.
you know, there's only one card that's answering this situation, and that's Themis Decree.
Yeah.
So.
This is a Themis Decree or bust, literally. He's got a 1,
Yeah.
probably whatever number in 28 to get it. I don't know what number he's playing, if he's playing them.
Oh God.
Oh, this looks like an Aegis list, so
Oh!
pretty sure.
Come on, buddy.
Well,
Oh!
it doesn't even matter.
Nope.
No!
Dead.
Pitiful lad.
He's
I mean, you can
dead.
curate. That's cute.
Nah, this game's over.
Dang.
even if he did Demon's Decree, that Snow White was gonna pop, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a good point. Snow White, again, having that kind of sticky property to be able to kind of maintain and be able to swing on your next turn as well. That's kind of really strong. It's not like it dies and then it's just sitting there like, I can't do anything for the next turn. I think it's super... I feel like I really wanted that Nemesis Decree to happen just because I don't think I've seen a more value Nemesis Decree opportunity ever. But out of all the Havencraft matches that we saw, I don't feel like we've seen a single instance of that card yet. So that is that. Derzella will move on to the winners finals, and that means that the matchup in the winners finals is set. It's going to be EXG Sheepy versus Derzello, and down in the losers side, we already know that Menso is going to be waiting there to see if he can make it his way through, and Catch as well is going to be playing out his journey in the losers bracket here. So they still have an opportunity to come out in first place. It just means that that path could be a little more extended, as if they make it to the grand finals, they're going to have to win twice, as the person in the grand finals on the winner's side hasn't lost a single match in the tournament. So is that going to be Sheepy? Is that going to be Derzello? We'll have to see. I'd like to take the moment now in between matches to remind you guys, if you want to sign up for the Shadowverse Open, you can go to shadowverse.nge.io and you can find out all the information about how to participate in the qualifiers. There's just 1 week left, so if you are a North American player, you can sign up for tomorrow right now, so go and do it. And if you're a European player, unfortunately it is playing out right now, but you can go next week and sign up for the next week qualifier for Europe, and of course 1 more for North America on the way as well. But after that, it's all into the round robin stages. So with that being said, lots of interesting interactions have happened so far, and unfortunately I wasn't really keeping track of how many crafts we've seen so far. Havencraft definitely seems, as a gut reaction, super popular, and I think it's like Haven, Rune. I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's Haven, Rune, and Shadow in pretty even splits, right? Do you guys remember?
We did see Dragon.
Okay, that's right. Yep.
We did see Dragon.
Yep.
Just one, though. Just one. But yeah, the rest of what you said is absolutely right.
1 instance of Dragon, and then Haven, Shadow, Rune are kind of... And that's kind of interesting, right? I think compared to Tempest of the Gods, I feel like a lot of players in Tempest of the Gods kind of were really set on kind of just playing between the 2 crafts, kind of Dragoncraft or Shadowcraft, and maybe the occasional sword. You know, I don't think Haven was really adopted in the West at all, but it feels like there's like between 4 crafts, that's actually pretty decent, right? A decent variety. Dragon, Shadow, Rune, Haven. I think that's not bad.
It is a lot of variety, actually.
Mm-hmm. And there's...
That just happens towards the 3-deck 1 ban format.
Yeah. And we actually see different kind of brands of, for example, Runecraft. We've seen Dirt Rune as well as a more traditional D-Shift as well, so that's kind of cool as well. So as we move into the losers bracket, I think as these games were playing, we had the players named Praetorian and Akamarud playing out in the losers bracket, so the winner of that will go on to face Menso, and then Mana Surge Rizio versus Ray, and the winner of that will go on to face Catch. So it looks like Praetorian was the winner, and now we are in the losers quarters, and this means that whoever is defeated here is knocked out of the tournament. Now they already have made it far enough that they're going to get vials, but if you lose here, you're going to be pretty sad, because I think you lose your invite spot. I would need to kind of count the placings again, but I think players at this stage would need to win this round to guarantee themselves at least an invite into the round robin stage. So this is a pretty important match here.
And
Alright, so we have...
for some reason, Blood got through.
Oh boy, yeah, we were talking about that too.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a classic on curve on play Blood here. Ooh, Zombie Party strong though.
Okay, get rid of those toes, man. Don't want them living.
Hey, I had a question. Okay. And I never looked too hard at Tove because it was behind blurry vision because I was crying. But is Tove a fox or an anteater? What is Tove?
I think it's an anteater.
It's an anteater? Whoever knew that anteaters could be so dangerous.
Very weird.
Apparently
enemy.
anteaters
I
are 3/3s.
hate so much.
Anteaters are thieves.
Lands of wonders, lands of marvels.
That Alice is brutal, letting his goblin trade for the Grimner and live. Ugh.
Yeah.
Alright. He's got them skull beasts. Orthrus! I have not seen that card since there was a Banhammer that, or not a Banhammer, the Nerf Hammer struck in Tempest of the Gods on Shadowcraft. It really seemed to fall out of favor real quick.
Yeah, people were replacing Orthrus with Prince Catacomb because Prince Catacomb's cost went up to 4. Because originally it was 3.
Let's play again.
Where's the prince now?
That's interesting that he chose not to gain the shadows there. I guess he just feels like he needs the board. This Lyriel is a huge punish, though.
Yeah. It is. So he can shoot the Orthrus, trade into that, live, hit face for 3.
He can actually hit face for 4.
5.
That's
He plays that Blood Wolf.
Oh, yeah, no, he can go from... He can either he can Waterman the Goblin Mage, Blood Wolf, and then Lyriel kills both of their minions just by evolving. So.
Oh my god. Bloodcraft is pretty good.
Bloodcraft's pretty good, yeah. It's a pretty good faction.
Pretty good. Alright, trades the Skull Beast out.
You're mean.
Gets 4.
That was a 1-mana 2/2 that buffed the Goblin Mage for 1 attack when it entered the battlefield.
That's
pretty
crazy.
nuts.
A Wise Merman.
It's pretty crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
Wise Merman OP.
He could have a lot of damage as well. The Phantom Cat could come in and potentially do 4 to face, plus everything on the board that may potentially swing here. And there just doesn't seem... There's not enough turns to have that Goblin Princess trade in and then play the ward from the Goblin King as well. So I think this is a pretty rough situation here for Praetorian. Ugh.
Yeah, this situation.
And these decks are usually built to have Phantom Cat do that. They're usually built to have Phantom Cat draw the 2 neutrals.
So it's very likely that it's going to happen. Here we go.
Oh,
And there it is. Oh, wait, no, it's
Wow,
only one.
he only got 2,
Phantom
but he
Cat's
got another
a
Phantom
blood
Cat.
card. Yeah.
This is what I call the Daria effect. Your Daria draws a Daria.
They cantrip each other. Sounds fun.
Yep.
well, he's on 6, so he's a little far away here, but he does have an Erd. He can Erd that.
Destiny calls.
Nice.
And it
There
hits the
you
better
go.
one for him, too.
I'll show
Gets to
you.
evolve and keep a 5/1 now.
No
Yep.
one escapes the wheel of destiny.
He's in a lot of trouble, though. There's a lot of reach in Blood's hand right now.
Yep. Tons of gas.
You can just play this Phantom Cat and Goblin, and then if it does 4,
Yeah, that would really put him in a good spot.
Take this.
Oh my god! Oh, he got 0. But he pulled another Phantom Cat.
yeah, it's true.
He low rolled
Every
pretty
Phantom
bad
Cat drew
there.
a Phantom Cat.
Yeah, he definitely... I mean, the damage was definitely way more valuable in that scenario than the next Phantom Cat. Because he already has
Right.
in hand the ability to close out the game. Especially if no wards are kind of propagated.
That also actually slows the turn by 1, which is super important. Never mind. Had he chosen to play Goblin Princess, I would have given him access to a ward.
Yes.
But he played Eater instead.
Which, can't blame him, you know? Eekter's pretty
Yeah.
pretty cool guy.
This also sets up lethal next turn if nothing happens, so...
Yeah. Kind of dissuades you necessarily from setting up a 2-turn lethal just because you'll die if you just try to go face.
Well, all the momentum
Oh, wait,
is
I don't
kind of
know all,
shifted
actually.
to Shadow here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no wards on the field or able to be played. Tove is going to gain Rush, so you're going to be able to destroy one of the zombies. You have no Evolve Orbs, and nothing... Yeah. So what, you're taking 6 damage here, or rather 8 damage.
Right, yeah. Second Eater is actually lethal, I think.
Oh, okay. Not super useful here. So I think the idea is that you want to try to clear.
Definitely.
So
Clearing
let me
out
ask you
that.
guys a question. Let me ask you guys a question here. Do you think that Menso would have been in a better position if he, instead of playing the Phantom Cat, had went a little bit more aggressive on that turn?
Yes, with like dropping the Blood Wolf and then trying to just push face damage or something like that.
You're right.
He might have killed himself if he did that, actually. I feel like he
Yeah.
might have just lost this turn if he had done that, because the Blood Wolf maybe would have put him to 10 and then swing for the game win. So, oh my God!
Right.
So actually,
all the
he
zombies
has.
would have had to trade into the wolves anyway. So
So he needs to be very
Shadow can't
careful.
leave the blood wolves up.
He could actually die based on what the Phantom Cat draws, right? Because 2, 4, 5 damage does a Phantom Cat. If it does 4, then a Razor Claw or a Blood Wolf will win it, right? Please kill at least one more thing with your Ektar. Thank God. He still could die, right? 3, 4, 7, 3. Yeah, he could still die. If Phantom Cat does. Wait, did I?
Wait.
Oh yeah, he's still dead.
Yeah.
Yep, double Blood Wolf.
Yeah, he's still
Yep.
Yeah, double Blood Wolf is 4 anyways.
Ow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Ow.
Yeah, there was no way out of it. There was no way out of it. That's aggro blood for you right there, and the reach is pretty incredible. I think a lot of that comes down to not. I think Envy Bear hit the nail on the head. Honestly, you had that turn where you could play the princess and start setting up for the Goblin King. I think it was actually important to take that moment of opportunity at that time. The Ektar was certainly helpful in getting board control, but I think classically Shadowcraft, and I think we've seen it a few times today now, tends to run things that are more aggressive because you're used to being the one doing the face damage, and so ward is actually hard to come by, and ward is super valuable against blood in this scenario. So wow, so Menso is going to be able to take that win, and now Menso is going to be playing Shadowcraft as the alternate deck, and I believe it was Havencraft that was banned out then by Praetorian, right? Because I believe Haven Shadow was what Menso played on in the winner's side. So let's see. I mean, he's sticking. Praetorian is sticking here with Shadowcraft, so it's going to be a mirror match. And I did get to see who goes first and second, but we've seen this matchup quite a lot. Now it might be in a slightly different form, but what do you think is a key thing in this mirror match, Aya Senpai, kind of moving forward here for Praetorian?
Well, I think in this, he wants to get as much damage early as possible. He doesn't really want to, give his opponent room to breathe. So he's just gonna have to go in as much as he can, like right now, especially since his opponent missed his 1-drop and then he just drew it just now. So obviously he's not playing it. So just get as damage and as much pressure as he can. Try to take those chances to draw some cards just so that his opponent can't catch up to him.
We'll see if he's going to be able to abide by that. By that statement here. Opts to play the Bone Chimera.
Bone Chimera,
He's got a
good
really
card
aggressive card
again,
lining up as
sticky.
well. So
All right. A few options here.
So, well, unfortunately, none of his options are removal based. So
yeah.
he's certainly going to have to trade. The way he trades will, I guess, inform the way he's going to play out the rest of this turn. If he value trades, he'll take 1 damage off the board and still have his Lyrial on board. If he takes the 2 damage off board, he won't have the Lyrial anymore. So this is a real pivotal turn for him. What he decides to do.
It's difficult for sure. I think maybe trading the 2/2 into 2/2 and then developing your 3-mana 1/1 that turns into a Lich. I think you're good at Tentative Knight. You can Demon Eater that, or you can also Necromancer on that. So
Yeah.
there we go.
And that's the line he goes with.
Man, Envy is like what, 3 for 3 now?
See the
3
see
for
the
3 today.
future.
You're just in the know.
Food should act like food.
Massive Demon Eater there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and such a really widely used in Shadowcraft now in this expansion. The Demon Eater.
Oh yeah. Drawing cards happens to be good in card games.
Yeah, and especially for Shadowcraft as well, right? There's so many
Right.
cards that you can pick up, like drawing an Ector could change the game entirely.
Yep.
So card draw is incredibly valuable. Necro Assassin doesn't have has a whole bunch of kind of average choices.
Let's make the world quiet.
Well,
He does
at
know
the very
Cerberus
least
is
you can
probably coming
say,
down row in 5, so.
well, the least you could say that he took 1 damage off the board with the Necro Assassin. He took 2 off actually, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you threaten a large amount of damage on this turn. So.
Yeah. The Soul Squasher is really good here.
Yeah.
High value Soul Squasher right here.
I think that's exactly how you would prefer to spend your shadows in this kind of scenario here for Praetorian.
Yeah.
Saving them for any kind of... It's not as worth it saving it for any kind of Death's Breath or Ector, really, because you already have so much pressure right now. That's exactly how you
Yeah,
would
he
want your
can-
shadows to spend.
He can generate those shadows pretty much, at will. Because he has so many things on board, and plus he has a Skull Beast would have given him an additional shadow when it dies. So, like, playing that Soul Squasher, and then he even got it in return, was very good.
Yeah, both players actually have tools in their hands to refill quite nicely, both having Bone Chimeras. Menso does have a few more in the Demon Eaters and Soul Conversions, but he hasn't found a good turn to actually develop those into cards yet.
So, with 1 evolution orb left on both sides, I think it's very easy for Shadowcraft mirror matches to get into this point where your cards trade so back and forth and board control goes so back and forth that you start kind of slightly running out of options here. I think Praetorian has a little more gas. I don't really see anything that's kind of future for Menso in his hand. And this is like the classic Menso thing. I feel like we talked about that all the way through the winner's side. But
Yeah.
he really doesn't seem like he has any cards that pack any punch in hand right now.
It's just the way he's drawing, man. It's gotta be the way he's
High-quality
drawing.
bricks,
I
man.
actually like this from Praetorian. He's gonna go face. He's just gonna separate his stats up and go face.
Yeah.
Yeah, this makes it incredibly difficult for him to deal with, for Minso to deal with.
Yeah, especially when you know there's a 2 damage ping that you really can't handle
Exactly,
unless you
yep.
can heal. It's just you
It's
need to clear
effectively at
board.
2 right now.
Yep.
Now he does have a Lurching Corpse and a Soul Conversion and or Demon Eater. So, he can do something.
What will that
He's not
something
completely dead.
He can clear the board, but being at just 2, another Cerberus would be lethal.
be? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Minso does get to fill his hand up here a little bit, though. He can also play Demon Eater the same turn on any random 1/1. Another Lurching Corpse.
Alright, well, no ward on board, so... Oh. Okay.
Well, it's not lethal yet.
Yep.
In fact, Mimi,
No.
if he's scared of an Eater, Mimi actually might go to the 4/1.
Yeah.
He does have
Well-
Zombie Party in hand, though.
The current
He can
situation...
Zombie Party to 4/1.
So what's interesting here is the current situation is
Yeah.
there's no actual way for Menso to suicide a card. So if he actually didn't kill anything, the potential... Oh my...
Oh, well,
Well, I was
The
about
great
to
equalizer.
say, if you leave 5 followers on board and leave them no way to suicide, the Ector can't come in and buff up 4 cards. It was 4 damage that he removed. I guess, yeah, it was definitely worth it damage-wise to keep the current followers he had on board. But going to be very willing to just trade out.
That plan also works too. You couldn't really play Eater to maximum value that turn. You didn't really have any shadows, and your board was full of a bunch of things that would just die in the trade. And there wasn't enough room for Thane, so...
Yes.
well, he
Ector in
has an
hand here.
Ektar of his own.
Yeah.
Ektar battles.
It's not exactly the best play this turn. He does all the zombies though, except for one.
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like Ektar is going to possibly be the response here. And really the goal for Menso at this point is just do not take a lick of face damage and hope that Phantom Howl or Cerberus does not pop up.
Right.
He's living on a dream, right? And then of course once he gets to play point 10, he's dead. We know that.
Yeah,
but
he has to win within the next few turns or he's dead to the Grimnir.
Yep.
Hey, why so angry?
Which makes this scenario very difficult. Ugh.
It was actually very good that he chose to clear the Attendant Knight
Not
on the
what
Lich
you
as
want to be
well,
drawing
because
there.
the Lich getting the buff from Eekter would allow it to trade into Eekter here, so...
Right. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
So that's just lethal. He doesn't have enough to clear.
Yeah. Oh no.
Leaving.
Why didn't he
knows-
play
he
the
knows when
one
he's
drop
still
into
there,
the
so.
Ektar?
Mm.
I mean, I guess it
Too many
still
zombos.
would have lethal, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, he still would have been able to clear more. It just would have been better
Yeah.
because he still had one play point left over and he had a one drop in play. So
That's
in his
true.
hand. Sorry.
That's true. So, Praetorian will be able to take the win back. So it's 1-1 now. And so Menso is facing elimination, being put down to the loser's bracket by Sheepy, and Praetorian actually fighting through from being pushed down earlier. Would be interesting is I wonder who put Praetorian there in the first place. I wonder if this is a rematch of any sort. But I think that after we should see what Praetorian's alternate deck is and kind of figure out, okay, so he's going to bring Sword. This is what Aya Senpai was talking about. What do you think in particular about Sword is going to make it kind of effective in the tournament meta right now?
Well, since as Envy pointed out that people will be playing Haven, Sword happens to be very, very good against Haven. However, right now it's not very good against Shadow. So this is probably going to be pretty hard for Praetorian to win through. I'd be rather impressed if he actually managed to win through this matchup, or if Menso gets his legendary brick hands.
The legendary brick hands. Oh man.
Yeah, Sword has always kind of struggled against Shadow, and it's never really gotten any better. They did stop running Cowie, though, which used to completely brick stop Sword, so maybe.
We'll see. He's got a bunch of his mid-range here. He's got Luminous Mage and Double Alberts.
I am the Mad Cyclone.
And it's a not bad turn 4, turn 5 thing. I mean, going first and having Floral Fencer is not the ideal scenario, but you make do.
No.
Scrivener could just die for free, or could snipe the 1-1.
Come on, Lurching Corpse.
I'm pretty sure you always attack here, though. I think it's a net game, yeah. Damn.
Oh my
and
god.
a dead
Kill the
Grimnir.
Grimnir.
It's because you said it, Envy, and now
I
you're
think
4
it
for
is, yeah, I
4.
think I cursed.
And now you're 4 for
Cast
4.
it
Curse is
into
real.
existence.
Yep. That's weird. That's weird that you can do that.
I don't know, it's just the power I have.
I remember you also doing really well guessing which cards were going to come out of the packs when we were opening it in Season 1.
Yeah.
My god. This is why you like card games, right?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Ugh.
Exposed.
There's something disturbing about that.
To the bone.
I really like this play. Lyriel evolve, you know, we've seen this so many times. Lyriel just 2-for-1s, and then they have to trade into her, like use a spell on her. Lyriel just getting a 3-for-1 trade usually. But yeah, I mean, just develops a play for the Necro Assassin next turn in that Lurching Corpse, and this is looking really good for Shadow.
Yeah. Yeah. Lyriel as a card, we got to see it a lot in Tempest of the Gods, and always got a lot of value there, and I think nothing's changed, right? And especially with the neutral package getting stronger, it's all the more reason to bring Lyriel.
I don't see Lyriel going anywhere, man. That and Angel of the Word, I think they're going to see some play for quite some time.
Neutral package, I think Lyriel was probably already in like 90% of decks, and neutral package bumped it to 100. Like, I didn't think they would make Lyriel better.
Yeah.
They did. She's probably
It's
in
kind of hard,
everything now.
like, it's kind of hard to justify not playing Lyriel in a deck.
Yeah. Well,
Prepare for battle.
I'm gonna
Poor
work her to
Albert.
the bone, right? As she would say.
Trade Albert. Interesting.
That's exactly what Sword doesn't want to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
When,
Yep.
when a Sword player starts trading, he's in a bad position. When he starts trading with Shadow, he's in a bad position.
Right.
Starts trading with Alberts. Defensive
Albert,
Alberts.
right?
Defensive Albert is something you don't want to say.
Especially not if you're going first.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yep. You really want to be able to be hitting face.
It does make the Necro Assassin play a lot weaker this turn, but I mean, he just has 5. He could Zombie Party into the Attendant of Night, or even opt to play the Fina here. So,
So this is
yeah,
the
just gonna play
end.
Fina, I think. Oh, I don't know.
Gonna mess with me.
That skeleton will be given a Medal of Honor. Defeating a high-ranking commander like Albert. A hero to be remembered for the ages.
Indeed.
Want to play?
Oh,
He's
and this
gonna start-
skeleton.
That's a pretty aggressive
He's gonna
evolve.
start pushing it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
I guess it doesn't matter
Pretty
too much
aggressive.
that he didn't save the Squasher there for the Enter the Battlefield effect, since there's no way Sword, gets rid of that 3/3 and then also puts enough bodies on the board that Necro Assassin and Lurching Corpse can't handle. So
Yeah. In a really bad spot now, Praetorian went first, but is behind in board control. And I guess that's not
he's
too
way behind.
unfamiliar.
Hey, why so angry?
Sword vs. Shadow, I feel like classically ends up in this scenario.
well, he put the max bodies on board this turn. This is still really bad though.
Loyalty is ironclad.
Yeah, it's definitely bad.
Yeah, Zombie Party is online
next-
still, so
Yep. And he drew another Necro Assassin. So
Oh, gosh.
he's pretty stacked up. He's ready.
he's got removal.
Interesting that the Fina is there. I just noticed that. The Fortune Hunter.
Well, Fina
Well,
could
Fina
be
makes
there
a
to
0
just
mana
put more
Goblin
bodies
Mage,
on
which
board.
can search up Lurching Corpse or
Mm.
Soul Squasher, which doesn't sound bad, but doesn't sound that bad to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd much rather it be a Cerberus though. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're breathing.
So, here comes the Necro Assassin.
first.
Ooh,
And it missed the,
The floor fencer.
floor fencer
Sure.
completely.
yep.
If you just go around it, yeah.
Yep, so Attendant of Night can't actually attack into any of the followers.
I'll show
Nope.
He may actually be saving Zombie Party
Let's make the
for next
world
turn.
quiet.
Since he will be on 7, it will get that enhance effect.
Yeah.
Not sure if that's the greatest though. This 1/1 does just kill Necro Assassin for free.
You wouldn't.
Yeah. I think there is the idea that if you keep soaring the board, Swordcraft is eventually going to get to a really uncomfortable spot. But I do think it's kind of tragic to have the Necro Assassin just be taken down by this knight.
It's so quiet.
Well,
You and I, Knight.
this
Even
he
though
can
it's
actually trade that 1/1 into the Attendant, evolve the Luminous Mage, and trade into the 4/4,
Lich. Yeah.
Turn the power of hope to light.
You're mean.
Oh,
or not do that at all.
Well, I mean, it's a free evolve. You might as well do it, right?
yeah. Yeah. All right.
And if there's a punish draw, if I've ever seen one, Ether will
It's that one.
help quite significantly here.
I believe.
Getting rid of the 4/5 is still kind of awkward, though.
You could attend. No, the attendant can't actually attack it. So yeah.
No, 10 can't attack minions.
I won't lose again.
Okay, so he leaves Luminous Mage.
This is-
Interesting.
This is
Interesting.
questionable.
It's not quite on Albert's turn. Albert can't evolve for free, which
Yep.
would be well, he can, but it's not
He
storm.
can.
It's not double hit.
Yep.
Which
Which would
be
have ended the
lethal
game.
if it was. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if this board gets cleared, which I guess the Attendant would still be there, he could clear the 3 zombies this turn.
He needs
You
to
can also
clear.
play Maid Leader and more than likely pull a third Albert here and evolve that one for free. Never mind, White Paladin.
Oh.
Okay.
She got one wrong.
I mean,
That's
if he's gonna play
true.
White Paladin. I'm
How
not
many
sure
times
I
have
get
you
that
seen a
one right.
maid leader not draw a mage or an Albert?
Yeah, it is. It is because he is playing both Mage and Albert, and it pulls White Paladin instead. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Surprise! But he needs to clear the board,
Which actually
right?
is a commander. I think people forget that's commander.
It is a command.
The judgment falls. It all ends here.
The art is so cool for White Paladin.
Give him an inch.
Oh no! One of the Shield Guardians didn't get the Google Maps address. He got lost.
I actually really love pushing the 4 face there because you put it's not
That-
quite 10, but 11's close enough usually. If anything lives, so
Yeah. But,
Yeah. There it is.
too bad nothing will live.
Fails and
Yep.
useless.
Yeah, everything's dead.
Yep.
And actually, if he chooses to Albert face, he'll just die on the backswing. So.
Yeah, he just died. He loses the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Eater's a pretty good card sometimes.
He's 1 damage off. That is a great tragedy. Please clear the maid. There it is. Whew.
Apologies, sir.
Alright.
Yeah.
Well, Albert can come in and take down 2 zombies.
Yeah, he can't even kill Ektar.
Yeah.
It's like,
He could kill Ektar, yeah.
Yeah, he could swing
well, he
twice
could
on
only kill
Ektar.
Ektar and leave his zombies in play.
What if you played a mage into the Geno? Would that give you
Well-
any better of a situation? Not really. You still only take
Not
down
really,
2 cards.
because you still can't kill the Ektar.
Yep. Yep. Yup. So that means the Veteran Lancer is the only choice to mitigate damage here.
I think, unfortunately, he's in a position where he's gonna have to use Albert to clear 2 zombies.
I think his safest play, maybe, is to Geno with the Enhance, evolve it, kill the Eater, then play the Veteran Lancer, setting up 2 1/1s and a 2/2, which would have traded into this board really nicely. But instead he's going to go for the Evolve Luminous Mage here.
Ah, yeah,
This is a-
nothing
this
kills
is-
the Ector.
This
No, he
is a
can't kill
tough.
the Ektar at all
This
with
is
this
a tough
board.
situation, man.
Well, I mean, he could. If he evolves one of the other 2 minions and throws both that and Geno into it, it does die, but
Yep.
that's not efficient at all.
Yep.
Turn the power of hope to light.
Wow, what a board situation Menso built for himself.
Yeah.
Ector's pretty good. And he
heard
passes
that.
7 damage on board.
And he drew an attendant, which he can use with that Necro Assassin.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. He can actually just push this advantage even further and clear the board.
Yeah. This is exactly what I was talking about in the matchup between Sword and Shadow. It's just so hard for Sword to keep up
Mhm.
with when you have cards like Attendant of Night.
My shield.
Just yeah, it's so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Gonna mess with me.
I feel like
So
these are the situations where it's so hard because I feel like there are individual cards that exist for Swordcraft that can handle these situations,
I won't lose
but
again.
it's hard to kind of, you can't really tutor them that well, you know, and even putting them in the deck doesn't guarantee that their Alwidas would have been real nice, for example.
Alwidas is actually
he
really good
did
here
that
along
out
with
of
Veteran
order.
Lancer.
He did that out of order, high roll the kill, and still clear the board.
Yeah.
It's pretty-
Yep. Pretty good, Menso. You're pretty good.
nice
If
dice
only he
roll,
knew
bro.
that Menso only had a Fina in hand, going for Alwida's Veteran Lancer with no evolves, hitting face, putting him to 8 is actually
Yeah, he needs to
your best play this
Yeah.
turn.
And I think it's very likely that Albert can come in and win it if he doesn't draw something that will remove the wards.
Alternatively, he could choose to evolve Albert this turn,
And take
clear both
down-
the 3/3 and the 4/4. Eater can't kill it on the backswing, and he gets then for even more damage next
Won't
turn.
stop me.
Oh my god, this is such a risky situation though.
So quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
either-
but he's
either
playing
those
to what
plays
he
was
believes
pretty-
his out is.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I mean, his tournament life is on
Oh!
the line here.
That's-
Oh
That's
no!
Eater can't kill that. That's game.
Oh,
That's
Albert's
game.
supposed to double attack.
I senpai, you have the backwards predictions.
Hey, it just happened to work out, man. I'm impressed. I said I would be impressed if Sword won this match, and Sword won.
Oh my god.
Good
And
job,
he's got the
Sword. I
Novice
believe
Trooper
in
to
you.
do it. Which one is a fancier win, Novice Trooper or the Alwitas?
The battle
Both
Yeah,
of
well,
them?
he just decided.
Why not both?
Alright, so
Well-
after this match, forever now I will assert that Sword is favored in the Sword Shadow matchup. That is what I learned.
Shadow completely.
Out of the
Yeah.
one game that I saw, Sword came out on top. I don't know. I think that's
One
what
game.
happens. That's a new meta in Wonderland Dreams. I think
Maybe.
that's yeah. Yep. MVP. God, that Albert play. And I wonder how would that have situation played out if it was if it was the Alwita to veteran Lancer. I think was that
Well,
actually
you
the
don't-
safer
you don't
play
show
given
the
the
Albert
draw?
card, which for one, but the Albert play was technically a little bit safer since had he had removal, you
would've
don't
died.
die,
Yep.
and you also still have the Albedos in the back draw. So
Yep.
yeah, that was a much safer play.
Yep. That actually makes a lot of sense. All right. So, we are coming up to the halfway point of the broadcast here, and we've already seen a lot of players kind of chew through to kind of recap what's going on here. Over in Winners Finals, just sitting and waiting here, we have EXG, Sheepy, and Derzello. And what's important about that match is whoever wins gets automatically put into the grand final, and so they will guarantee kind of a very favorable invite into the round robin. Derzello, on the other hand, or rather kind of the opposite player, it's either Sheepy or Derzello that will be sent to the losers bracket, and then they have to face off against the winner of Catch versus either Rizzy or Ray. I guess I haven't gotten the update there. But Menso is out of the tournament. Praetorian is still in there. And I believe the update is that it's going to be Ray versus Catch. So I'm kind of looking forward to that match and trying to see who's gonna make it to the second week of invites here in the qualifier. So far, have you been feeling about the games here that we've seen?
Still a little surprised by the Sword win, but other than that, like, the games have been pretty good. There hasn't been there's only been maybe a few games where they were just really one-sided, but a lot of the games have been pretty back and forth. So I'm enjoying watching some Shadowverse right now.
I think what's interesting to me, and as we jump into Catch vs. Ray here, what's interesting to me is that in classic kind of Shadowverse Open fashion, Mana Surge Noah was a big talk for Shadowverse Season 1, and the curiosity was he was always running Swordcraft, and I feel like throughout Season 1, the Swordcraft was popular, but a lot of people were kind of shrugging their arms, kind of how do you really make this work consistently? And Noah was able to do that. Obviously, for Praetorian to get to this stage in the tournament with Swordcraft displays a certain amount of consistency, and that to me is kind of incredible in some ways.
Agreed. Hey, Sword.
Yeah, Blood Tiger,
I
come
knew
on.
Sword was good this format.
Mm.
I mean, I'm again still a little surprised that it managed to pull that up. But to be fair, Praetorian played that matchup very, very well.
Yeah, definitely
So,
making
taking
1,
it
2,
huge.
nothing
3, 4,
away from
5.
Yeah. Yeah, this is jumping into this match here. Bloodcraft got through again, going second, so it's not super duper fantastic, but he is fulfilling that Sesame Street dream right now.
I bloom
He is
Yeah,
just
he's counting.
yeah, he's learning how to count. The game is teaching him. First comes 1, then comes 2. After that is 3, and then the 4, and you win the game.
I am the mad
The Unica is actually a really good showstopper here, though, because along with Grimner,
Yeah,
you
the
can't do
Grimner to
anything. It's
follow
only
as
2
well.
goblins. Wow.
Yeah. And really, the ideal situation, I guess, for Blood in this scenario is to have Tove as kind of the 2, as opposed to something like the Actress Feria. That would have really changed the dynamic of this match here, because you would have the Grimner out of the way and still have that Tove existing.
Show's
Um,
over.
Showstopper. Wow.
Oh man. See, this is the difference between going first and going second.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely is.
If
One
Blood
of them
had
is
this hand
on the
going
back foot the
first,
entire game.
this would have been a completely different game.
Lands of marvels.
So Alice is gonna have to come in, kind of very reminiscent of Prince Catacomb back in the day, eating lunch alone in the cafeteria. Was supposed to have a lot of
Almost his
friends.
entire hand though, so
Yeah, yeah.
you know she's eating alone, but whatever, she can stay alone.
She can stay alone. Oh my gosh, poor Alice.
And she's looking out for her friends, man. She, left them some snacks while she was gone,
Yeah,
and they're gonna come out and they're gonna be buff.
wholesome Alice.
And
Play again.
he's burning no evolution points right now,
Yeah,
and he's just keeping his board on lock.
that Death Ledger is actually just incredible. Just so much value.
Tons of value.
Yeah,
It is
in
definitely
both
doing
matches.
work.
On the winner's side too, Catch was displaying some incredible value off of this ledger. This deck seems incredibly strong.
I think it was very interesting Ray chose not to play Baphomet there. I don't think it's searching Spawn in this deck though. I think it's searching
Phantom Cat?
I think it's searching Phantom Cat, yeah. Which would explain him not playing it.
This Unica has been here since the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
She has, yeah.
the Utica has been dancing. Dancing
This
hard.
is the longest living Unica I have seen in this game ever.
Kill it now.
Catch is first of all going down on Tina, which is obviously, against neutral blood what you want to be hitting.
Yeah.
Gonna be able to wipe the board here.
Run away.
Looks like going face
Gonna go
is the
for a
place.
zombie part, yeah.
Yep.
This
Kinda
Unica,
hoping he
though,
soul converts into something next turn. It looks like his play.
So I think there's a variety of choices here for Ray, and I guess Scarlet
I think this is the
Sabreur.
only one that makes sense.
Yeah.
The Sabreur.
Yep. And there's just so much value packed into that card.
Let us come.
Yeah.
One bite.
It's kind of got everything. Good stats, Bane, heal, can go face, can kill minions, does your taxes.
Does your
Pretty good
taxes. Wow. I want a Scarlet
For
Sabreur.
For 6 turns, this Unica has been dancing at a 2-1.
Oh
And
no!
dead now.
What? That is so
Man.
tragic. That Unica.
She wouldn't have
was-
died if it weren't for Bane, come
Well,
on.
That Unica had tenure, okay? And Catch just said, "March to your doom."
I mean, she healed him for a Phantom 10 health, so I think he was totally fine with
Phantom
it.
10 health, you're right. You're right.
And I mean, the biggest thing for Catch is that next turn he just slaps down Mordecai, and I mean, what do you do? Your opponent's at 20 and they played a Mordecai. Like,
You constantly throw Gruff into it and have nobody lose anything. Except Mordecai, I guess, just keeps swinging at your face. It
oh,
is
does it
fine.
spawn? Wow.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean,
Wow.
that's his answer to
Then
Mordecai.
I'm really
making the game much
confused about the
faster.
5 play. Like, why he didn't play the,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
Baphomet,
little
yeah.
confused now.
I guess if he didn't really want to go for that 5 play point for a 2-1, it doesn't matter if he did it now as opposed to on turn 7. You know what I mean? Because he'd still only play a turn 8 spawn.
Well, I mean, realistically, he could have used the Evolve and Baphomet to get the board control, and then he still had an Evolve left for the spawn to do 16 damage,
Yes.
which is, 16 damage is 16 damage.
That's a lot of numbers. Now it's
Yeah.
only 12.
It does 12 still, but
Yep. And it's actually a big difference, right? 16 versus 12, like 16 would
Yeah.
mean that this Baphomet would close out the game on the next turn. But now that it's 12,
16 would mean the double Savoir could close the game.
Oh,
yep.
oh, that could get a
Pulls Death
Kali.
Ledger, though. That actually
God!
could pull Mordecai.
All right.
This actually can pull
Oh,
Mordecai.
it could get a
and
Mord.
not let
It could
him
get a
close.
Mord, you're right.
Yeah.
Because he's at 9 play points.
Oh my God. Okay, since
It can pull it
Envy
alone.
said it was Mordecai, it's gonna be Mordecai. I'm pretty sure.
I'm
Yeah,
saying
sorry,
it's-
you're gonna hit
I'm
Mordecai,
saying-
sorry,
I'm
bud.
saying Kali.
It's probably Mordecai. Oh! Oh my God!
Is it? Is it heal first?
Oh, before
Get out of here! Okay.
the Death's Ledger has been incredible, and I guess this deck has. I mean, this is why Catch lets blood through, right? Because he knows the Death's Ledger is just. That's the one-stop shop. If it's not Lurching
Yeah.
Corpse,
I mean, he
it's
built around.
Kali.
He wanted
Quench them.
Yeah. Now, Mordecai is here to stay, right? I As far as I know, there's no banish that Blood has options to pick up unless you want to randomly play an Odin.
I doubt that.
Yeah, which seems like
Highly doubt
a
that.
very lonely card in the deck.
Well, it does get buffed by Alice. Maybe Odin is the dark horse. Maybe it's the card Blood needs.
Oh god. Yeah,
There's no way he's playing an Odin in that deck.
here comes the top deck.
You sure there's no way? There's no way at
There's
all.
no way he's playing Odin in that deck.
This guy's drawing!
I'm not right.
Get him
Into
a
Grimnar
sketchbook!
even.
He is painting pictures with how much he's drawing right now.
This is just this Death Sludger has just sealed Ray's fate completely.
Yeah. Ray, just pack it in, man.
Just packing.
Just pack
There's
it
really
in, bro.
nothing he can do
It's
against these
okay.
guys. One will quote unquote die, but you know it's a Mordecai.
Grimnir in his hand.
Yeah, with the Grimnir of his
Game's
own, Catch
over.
just wins this turn. So
Oh my gosh, the double Mordecai Grimnir special
look, if Shadow
elbow
can
drop
play Israfil, then
suplex.
Blood can play Odin. Okay, I'm calling it.
Come on, man.
It's a thing, man. We're bringing it back.
There it is, Catch with his Shadowcraft deck. But we've seen this before. We've been down this road, right? Catch wins it with the Shadowcraft deck, and then actually loses on his alternate deck. Which, now that I'm trying to think of it, I'm not sure what it was. It Haven? I feel like the likely statistic says
Yeah.
that it would be Haven.
I think well, if you're gonna let Blood through the ban, it has to be two decks that can handle Blood. Because
Right.
you can't just. It doesn't matter if Shadow beats Blood. If your other deck just loses the Blood automatically, then you're both at 1-1. So you've got to, if you let it through, you've got to have two decks that quote unquote beat it. So
Right, and that's likely going to be Havencraft. So, we're jumping into the library here. Oh, there it is. Bloodcraft again, and we'll see how this matchup plays out for Ray.
oh, and Blood's not first again.
Oh man, this is the tail of the tape. Okay, it's like Blood not first again.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, this is what I'll say to side games. Look at this tournament's performance statistics and then judge your balancing based off this. So you definitely don't need a nerf Blood.
No,
Definitely.
delete Blood.
Just make it go second every game.
Delete the faction.
That would be so interesting. You are forced to go second if you play this craft. Actually, I feel like some craft would really like that. Like,
That's
oh,
what I
we can
mentioned,
guarantee
like,
going
I think
second?
2 hours ago was Snow White on the play beats Tove on the draw. She can actually, there's only 2 out in the game that can kill this. So,
This is the
Yep.
interaction.
but he can also do scripture it too. Like it doesn't matter.
Well, he does have the scripture, and I think that scripture would be better.
Yeah.
Keep it Snow White.
Yeah.
I mean, you just get to make another Snow White. You could just save scripture. Suicide.
I mean, well,
Snow
he
White.
could also trade it and then play the Heavenly Hound.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. A lot of options here. Since that does count as an evolve for the Hound, it does trigger.
Yep.
Heavenly Hound, 2/4 with Ward. That's sick. This is actually such a good.
That's it.
You didn't kill the Tove?
No, this is
I actually
fine
love that,
because the
because it
thing
can't kill the
is
dog.
that Blood would have to have removal to kill that because he can't trade the Tove into the Heavenly Hound.
But now there's 2 Toves.
But there's
now
a
there's two
goblin.
toes.
Yeah,
He
he
did
did
it
draw a
anyway.
goblin. But that, I mean, look at that dog. It just did 4 damage to Toves. That's amazing.
That's
yeah,
true.
that is really good.
The Heavenly Hound. The dog beats the Anteater. Today we learn. If you ever have an
Dogs eat
Anteater
anteaters
problem,
in here.
send your dog at it.
Crystals of snow shimmer
Right.
in the night.
There's that Themis too. It's the first time we've seen one.
Oh my god, my eyes are blurring. There's too many Snow Whites.
That is a lot of Snow White.
They're looking at each other.
And they're kind
Wow.
of mirroring each other.
That's such an emotional image right there.
It is.
Yeah.
The 2
It's a better
Snow
love
Whites.
story.
It
No,
would have
Kind of
been.
awkward turn
Well,
for Blood too. Really
Yeah.
just no reason to play Goblin Mage and no reason to do anything else really. Yep, just double 2 drop.
I flew
Alright, I feel like this Unica's lifeline is not quite as long as it was before.
I said
No, it's not gonna live 6-7 turns. That was crazy.
Wow.
It's definitely
Catch had
not
to
living
top
6-7
deck a
turns.
play there because his hand was pretty garbage.
Yeah.
And he gets the best
Yeah.
possible 5 mana play.
real battle
Yeah, and he's kind of got that Themis that we were talking about there in the pocket.
He just skillfully
That's how you play card
marks it.
games, Catch. Good job. Baphomet on 5 definitely makes sense here.
Yep.
And he still didn't Okay.
I'm so.
Guess I'm not a
confused
good
right
blood player. I would never.
Hey, I'm
Apparently
just
I'll
as
never make
confused
it.
as you are. I don't like.
Yeah. Baphomet can still search for an 8-mana spawn. Tove can't do anything. Lyriel can't do much on this board, which is kind of weird. You know, Lyriel not doing much is not really in her style.
Wow,
But
he just went for Tove.
Witness the power.
this is a lackluster evolve too. Either it kills itself or just reanimates Snow White. Okay, it's gonna kill itself.
That's a suicidal goblin mage. That's.
Ooh, it's got
That's
Tribunal.
good.
Okay, never mind. He had Tribunal and Themis for spawn.
Yeah, you see, he skillfully drew into the tribunal.
Yeah, Catch is definitely setting up these plays here.
Yeah. He stacked his deck
It's
with
an
just the
Emeralda.
right.
I only learned yesterday it's not Esmeralda. But
What? It's
Emeralda.
not?
This saying Esmeralda.
It's not Esmeralda, it's just Emeralda.
I know, it's Emeralda.
Yeah. I've called her Esmeralda for a month now? Not 3 months, but a month.
Wow.
I haven't put up a spawn for 3 months yet.
3 months
This is looking
of
really
spawn,
good for
yeah.
Catch, though. I mean, there's just nothing. I mean, finally goes searching for spawn here. Can play it next turn.
This is not bad. You know, the amulets are still ticking down.
He keeps
I mean, as long
drawing,
as
like-
Catch makes it to 9 mana, this is looking really good. He's still at 20 life with Aegis in hand, so.
Yeah. He's just drawing good cards. Like, it's like the fates want him to win this game.
I think it's going to be back-to-back Spawn of the Abyss. That's going to win it for...
How would he do that? Drawing another one?
Yeah, he's going to draw another one. He's going to play the second Spawn, and he's just going to win. That's how this cookie's going to crumble.
If this Lyriel evolves, spawn evolving is weird. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I
Themis hits
wouldn't-
no matter what. So... He
would
might
just
evolve
pass.
Lyriel to ping face for 1, attack the dog, so Spawn can then next turn attack for 12, but it's not gonna work, unfortunately.
Right. I would have just
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah. Using the evolve like that before the Spawn can actually get in there for that 12 is just going to provoke an instant Themis.
Yep.
I don't know what he could have been wanting.
Well, he was
there.
thinking about that. He was thinking about Spawn getting in next turn, Saboir probably hitting face as well, or even Emeralda hitting face. She doesn't have Storm unless you're in Vengeance, never mind. But yeah, so probably Saboir hitting face. But here's the Aegis. This is gonna seal it pretty much.
Yeah, this
Aegis
game's
comes
over.
down.
And then Tribunal
Especially
pops.
with Tea Time coming out at the same turn.
Oh my god, that Tribunal!
Yeah.
Oh my
Well, it didn't
goodness.
matter. He had Tea
Yeah,
Time,
just-
so...
Yeah.
Well, just pack it in, bro.
Yeah, this is
You've been rebuked.
absolutely brutal.
You have been rebuked. Oh no! The Tin Soldier to clear the way for the Heavenly Aegis.
Yep. Just be like, man, I played well, but time for me to go.
Emeralda can kill a 5/5 for free, but she can't stop an 8/8.
Yep.
Nope. This game's a wrap. Let's wrap it up.
Alright.
Just acolytes like that.
Yep. 8. Well, he's still 2 turns, right?
He can play the Beast Call
No,
and the Hollow
actually,
Dogma.
because Dogma
yeah.
can hit that next turn for
Yep.
10. Or just this turn, okay.
Oh, and he drew another Aegis.
Well, yeah, he really needed that.
Yeah.
You know, he's in a lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, that seals the game for sure. Another Aegis.
Oh no.
Well, I got Haven into Vengeance. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Haven into
It
Vengeance.
just shows the hand. Nothing can be done.
When, as long as Havencraft is in Vengeance, Heavenly Aegis gains Storm.
Yeah. I mean, okay. That sounds fair.
That's great. I should pitch that idea to Side Games. I'll
Yeah,
call
please
them up
don't work
after
for
this
Side Games.
after this tournament broadcast. There we have it. So Catch is going to be able to take that 2-0 victory over Ray, and I think we should kind of think about that a little bit, kind of delaying the Baphomet play. Did that actually? I mean, I think this Spawn of the Abyss was actually probably better applied on turn 6 in that particular scenario. So I think in that game it did hurt him a lot.
Yeah.
In that particular game, it didn't actually, because he already had the Themis in his hand, and because Haven was on the
That's
play, the Spawn would have just died. However, the pressure it could have applied, making him Themis' board a turn later, or a turn before. Sorry, not later. I don't know. It does seem weird that he didn't go for the spawn that turn, but.
Yeah, I don't get that line at all. Like I've run it back in my head a little bit, and I'm just like, is there a reason that he would have played the Goblin Mage on that turn instead of the Baphomet? And I just can't think of one, you know. But I don't know his line of thought. I just don't understand it myself, like why he would do that. I think knowing that Themis could have happened, I still think I would have gone for getting the spawn at least.
Well.
Yeah.
That being said, Catch will be able to move on here, and so we have kind of the top 4 players all settled, and so now it's all about placing and who's going to win that 30,000 vials. So, as it stands, Sheepy, Derzello, Praetorian, as well as Catch will be Week 2's qualified players. The question is, who's going to solidify the first spot, the second spot, the third spot, and the fourth spot? And we'll get to know that in just a moment. Take another little moment here to remind you guys that if you want to participate in the Shadowverse Open, make sure you go to shadowverse.nge.io. There's all the information about how to sign up there, how to view the broadcast, how to participate, and some more interesting information that will be filled out as the season continues, as well as make sure you guys check out the Twitter account at Shadowverse Game. There's a lot of really cool, interesting tweets that come out there, some participatory elements as well, and you can talk about what the things you like about Shadowverse Open, what you think of the commentary, what you think about Envy guessing 4 things correct today. I don't know. I think she's 4 for 5 because I think she messed up on.
She missed one.
Yeah, there was
yeah,
one.
the Death
She missed
Sledger.
one. I'm counting the one.
You're counting the one. You're counting the one. All right. Well. We are very shortly going to head up into the winners finals here, but I think we have one more match to go through, and that's going to be between Praetorian and Catch. And at the conclusion of that match, we will have the winners final set up, the losers final set up, and then the grand final. So a few more matches to go here. And we've seen Praetorian play already. We've seen Catch play, and I think that Catch has some very, very actually unique decks here in terms of, especially his Shadowcraft deck is very strong. If I was Praetorian, I would actually slightly consider, is it worth it banning his Shadowcraft deck if Praetorian had set up something against Blood? I feel like that's actually pretty worth it, right?
Well, I think that would just depend on what he would be afraid of if his decks are resistant. If he has decks that could be resistant to Shadow, I don't see a reason to ban it. From what we've seen so far, I could see a reason for him to leave it. So I don't know. We'll have to see. It's hard to say, but I think that there's a reason to leave it. But if he's afraid of all of the potential removal, because that deck has a lot of removal and it's been pretty lucky on its hits, so it's been pretty lucky on its hits. So I think that maybe he doesn't want to test the luck.
Absolutely. So far, Envy, we've seen more than enough Haven, I feel like, to fill our appetites for the season. I would have to wonder, previously Havencraft was that one craft that you were like, oh, I want it to come back. I want to play Havencraft. That's kind of your go-to deck archetype style to play. In its current iteration, is that still something that you feel like is rewarding for the reasons that you liked Havencraft? Do you think it's changed a little bit? Do you think the playstyle has evolved at all?
It's pretty much stayed exactly the same since we got way back in Darkness Evolved, the first expansion, when they added Seraph and Garuda into the game. Those 2 cards have pretty much decided the 2 ways to play Haven forever. Lion Haven kind of made its own sort of little sub deck for a little while, but I think it's better off just to shove Lion into other archetypes and just try to get value off of it randomly instead of going all in on Lion.
That's actually interesting. And we see it a little bit here in terms of just the new expansion came out and everybody, I think, kind of flocked to Bloodcraft, and I think very rightfully so. But I think as the expansion has kind of played out a little bit, I feel like players are now kind of going back to the tried and true strategy of like taking the old archetypes and figuring out a good way to include the new cards in a more subtle and more nuanced method. And I feel like that's exactly what's happening with Havencraft, right? You get a bunch of new cards and you take a look at some of the old archetypes like Seraph, or maybe now even Aegis is kind of an alternate for that. And then you say, you know what? Let's put in these few cards here to kind of fill out its weaknesses, and now it looks like a very complete deck. I feel like we haven't seen it today at all, but I think Forestcraft is in a very similar spot in terms of a lot of people were like, let's throw Forestcraft out the door and try not to use Roach at all. And I think now we're kind of seeing some people trying to experiment with even some Wolf Bolt archetypes, even some Roach archetypes. I wonder, do you guys feel like Bloodcraft is going to go down the same road where we're going to see a more traditional aggro type Blood with maybe throwing in Spawn of the Abyss here as kind of a one of two of to have a kind of a late game ender? Is that something that you guys foresee?
No, like it's hard to answer that because we don't know what the balance changes are going to be. So, but let's just for the sake of argument say that there is no balance changes. Then I don't foresee that happening because, like, why reinvent the wheel? The deck that Spawn is in works pretty well. I mean, obviously not when it's on the draw, but wow, is that a Gabriel?
Interesting. Yeah.
That's a Gabriel. And Thunder General.
That's a Gabriel.
That is a Gabriel. Wow.
Sword.
Okay.
So Praetorian, and oh man, and this is actually super interesting because I think in that previous match we were talking about how there were certain options that Sword could tech into that helps itself in particular situations, but it's so hard to kind of dig out those answers and have that be a consistent thing rather than kind of just hoping you draw it in the turns that you have passing naturally. And Front Guard General was actually one of those cards that came to mind in terms of like, this could actually really help stem a lot of the aggression into the late game. And he did have it in his deck, and seeing it pop up here against Shadowcraft, I feel like is one of the... I guess against Kawi it's actually not super strong, but it does provide you that barrier of not getting your wards blown out in one turn, right?
Oh man,
Right.
Praetorian's just gotta skip his turn. Oh no, he plays Defensor! It's gonna die.
Oh.
It looks
feels
like
so
Praetorian
bad.
to me is playing a control sword variant, which I just want to go on record saying gets absolutely stomped by Shadow. There's nothing control sword does to Shadow.
Alright, I guess Praetorian's gonna lose now. I guess that's,
Well,
I
did
guess
have
that's
a
our life
turn
now.
His hand is very heavy, and
Yeah.
he's gonna start feeling the
I'm-
problems of control sword here in a minute.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm really wondering what this Gabriel is doing here.
Obviously, to buff
Yes.
Aoida's duh. Come on.
Oh, Praetorian again! This is actually the second time Praetorian has made that choice, leaving his Albert at 3-1. Going for the defensive play.
Albert. Yeah.
I mean, it worked out for him in the last in the last match, right? So
Good. Burning an Evo point to take out the 3-1 Albert.
So this is the
Yeah.
end.
I actually like that.
Yeah,
I think
well-
he's picking up on the fact that Sword's got a slower hand. It's got a lot more heavy hitter cards, and Death Sledger into Lurching Corpse Cowie later on is going to hit harder than that Evolve ever would. So
That's a very good point. Okay, so this is an
turn's
interesting
weird.
situation. Like, it's a pretty hard turn.
You're done for.
yep.
Oh,
Geno,
wow.
when Geno Evolve is one of your better plays on 6, that's
Pretty sad.
yeah, that's not the best. He will have a Gabriel target though, so
Yes. Maybe. Well, no, he'll
Maybe.
definitely.
no, he'll definitely have one.
Yeah, Catch can't get because he can't use Lurching Corpse here. So
Right.
definitely does not want to evolve the Grimner to do that either.
ooh, actually, yo, Gabriel Evolve over Grimner, go face with Geno. Okay.
Yep.
That Sledger can't pull
That's-
Cowie next turn, even though he's already holding one. It can't pull a Cowie for the insta-kill.
Yeah,
That may be a
play
bit
point
too
requirement.
aggressive for his plan, though.
Evolve Orbs
Never
definitely
mind.
are a valuable resource for Swordcraft too, so.
They are.
Oh
10
my god,
damage.
look at that guy! Look
But
at
10
that.
damage, though,
Poor
hey!
Geno.
Heaven's decree will be
This is a Buffy Geno.
This is a Geno that...
Yeah.
This is the legends told.
Yeah, this Jenna
That's a big Jenna.
Oh,
Alright, Kawi.
no. That's a big draw.
Well, he has
could just
Undying
play Kawi
Resentment.
this
He
turn,
doesn't.
though.
Alright.
Yeah, Kawi is definitely the play here. Even though Undying
Yeah.
Resentment would kill the 10-4.
Why would you pass up the opportunity to heal back your 10 health that you lost?
Right. Well, Praetorian can stop that. He can make him heal 5 instead of 10, but...
Yeah. And I think that's definitely the worth it play.
That
Yeah.
would have been so good had he not had a Kawi.
Right. I mean,
There's still a lot of aggression kind of in Praetorian's hand, right? You've got 2 Alwitas, you got the Fangblade, you even have the front guard as kind of like a, you know, a safety here. And we still haven't seen a single Albert drawn yet, you know, so that could come online in the next few turns.
Welcome home, sir.
well,
Right.
that could be.
There is one problem with Maid Leader in Control Sword, in the fact that she draws basically everything. So if you're looking for Albert, you're probably not going to find Albert.
Right. He's hiding. Hey, Luminous Mage, more free evolves. This is maybe the one time where... What was that card? That you only ever see in Take-Two and you wish you never saw?
Heaven's decree.
Bahamut.
No.
Or Olivia. I
So those
Yep.
you definitely see outside of Take-Two as well.
Yeah.
But it's very rare to see 2 evolved cards on the board here.
Ooh, come on! The 20% chance sniping the best possible thing.
Oh man, Catch is certainly catching the cards, man.
He's got some luck, man. 60% chance
Yeah.
to hit a 1-1 and doesn't do it.
Can I get
It's
this
not that
man's
Mordecai,
luck,
but it looks like
please?
he's gonna go for the Kawi dig, I guess.
We'll see.
This will pull Kawi probably. Kawi or Lurching Corpse.
Probably more like he's played. How many Lurching Corpses has he played? He's got 1 in hand.
Yeah, it's more likely a Kawi.
It's more likely to hit Cowie.
Or Lurching
Or
Corpse
Mordecai.
onto Maid Leader. Yeah.
Oh, I guess it can't
I
hit
think he's
Mordecai.
considering evolving Unica. Maybe?
There's a
Or
lot
playing
of
the
damage on
Lurching
board.
Corpse. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. If I were him, I probably would. I would evolve. I would
Yeah.
evolve here.
I mean, you could just walk into an Albert here, right? There's no way that Catch knows.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Albert isn't exactly lethal, but it's
Putting you at 1 is not comfortable, and we know that Fangblade Slayer exists as well, so it's...
Wow. He decided to roll the dice and was rewarded.
White Paladin.
who is significantly worse later in the game when you have no evolves. But she's playable alongside Luminous Mage, so
Yeah, because free Evo off of the Luminous Mage, and White Paladin is a commander.
the only problem with that is that it floods the board, and he exiles the 1/1, so there's really no point.
You and I, knight.
But
My sword brings hope. It all ends here.
interesting.
Shining paladin.
We'll be
This
able
is fine,
to,
though.
yeah, swing a bit of face.
That hurts.
Definitely fine. Face, play the White Paladin, yeah.
This also makes it harder to get rid of that. Never mind. I was gonna say it makes it harder to get rid of the Luminous Mage, in case he were to
So
draw an
much for
Albert.
that.
But never mind.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty easy zombie party on a Luminous Mage.
Yeah,
Oh!
probably the easiest zombie
Not.
party ever.
Fails and mistless.
Okay. Well, this starts to become real dangerous.
Show you.
He's gonna
Yeah,
evolve.
both sides are threatening, just doing too much damage in one turn.
Take up my shield.
Yep.
heretics like you.
Counting on a 1/1, the value.
So that's all the Cowies in the deck, right? I think 3
Yes.
have already been expended. Lots of Storm, lots of damage on the side of Praetorian here. And without the Cowie healing, I think that Swordcraft is actually good to just play out the Storms one by one.
I think Front Guard General Novice Trooper this turn is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
That front
Yeah.
guard's hard to get rid of. It's very sticky.
He can't.
And if
he
he
can't
trades
really
here, it's
deal
not
with it.
killable.
He has no. He has no Evo points. He has no way of killing that Lurching Corpse or anything else on the board. Yeah.
Oh, no, Uriel pulls
mean-
Death Sledger.
Yeah, but
Which
the
pulls
only
Lurching
he would have
Corpse.
what, one Lurching Corpse left in his deck?
Actually, it would probably more likely pull a Mordecai. Never mind. But yeah,
Boy,
I
that
guess he
feels
should have
awful.
one Lurching Corpse left.
Yeah, look at that, man.
That feels terrible.
I feel like you just play this. Yeah, you play Lurching Corpse here. This will port a Mordecai, probably.
Oh,
Never
pull the
mind.
Lurching Corpse.
Oh my God! If that had,
But this is almost lethal.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's nearly there. Floral Fencer.
This is almost. I mean, it basically is. He just has he still has
Yeah.
the Fangblade Slayer. So
Yep.
Yep.
Would have been really nice to get
Wow,
Honor here because the
man.
game would be over. But
well, I mean, actually, this game is over because
Yeah.
we know Cowlies are all gone. So
yep.
Wow.
Dang.
Sword
Control
again.
Sword. Control
Yeah.
Sword again, beating Shadow again. Two different archetypes
Right.
of Shadow.
yeah, apparently. Apparently,
See,
we're
I
just wrong
guess
about
I think I'm
matchup.
right. Sword has a better matchup against Shadow here.
Apparently, it hard counters it, man. I don't know.
Yeah, Sword is a hard
He's
counter.
getting he's gotten
Yeah.
so lucky, man.
Oh, sure. Attributed to luck. I,
Well,
Yeah,
no,
that's a lot.
okay, he has played the game out really well, but
This is a
I
card
mean,
game. There's no
some
luck
of
in card
the
games.
some of the things that's happened in this game is like, oh man, come on, bro.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm so. It could also be the variation of
There's
Shadow that
Blooded
he's playing.
Hedgehog
But
in this deck. That's the
Show the
dream.
hedgehog. Aw.
Too strong.
you sound really sad when he didn't play the hedgehog.
Show the hedgehog. Come on.
The Hedgehog could have been there in the winning picture here. But, hey, Swordcraft takes another win again, and now it's... I mean, it makes sense. Praetorian's here, you know. He's 1-0 up on catch, and if he wins this match, he goes to the losers finals. And I think Praetorian is pretty well positioned. Catch is probably going to play the Shadowcraft deck again, I would assume. And we'll have to see. Between the Shadowcraft deck and I guess Havencraft is Catch's alternate that we just identified, Praetorian has to figure out a way past that. And I think he's brought a really cool Swordcraft deck that deserves some more investigation here.
Mother, father.
Blood is going first,
Yeah, okay.
Hey,
Yep.
Lamau.
and he has a curve.
Just slap that
He's just
okay
keeping.
button.
He
We're
is
good.
keeping. You would, yeah. That is the dream right there.
Even
is what
Grimner
nightmares
after
are made
Tove
of.
is much stronger than Angel of the Word too.
Yup.
And so far, no real great removal on the side of
He's good.
Catch. He's got the combination of
That's
Unica Grimner, which we talked about.
Oh
He's on
no!
the-
God.
This game is probably over already. Praetorian probably has won.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Probably. I'm gonna slap the prediction down. It's bold, I know, but I'm gonna say Praetorian probably wins.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Oh, no.
If he top decks a Goblin leader, this is 100% over. 1000% over.
Ugh.
Well, he drew a bot. That's pretty
That's
good.
close. I mean, Baphomet on 5 after Alice is pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Oh,
Filling
my
the curve,
God.
man.
I
Drew a
think
3, 4,
Praetorian
5.
has set himself up to go 2-0 here.
Climbing
Alright.
that ladder,
The
dude.
Grim- yeah.
Show me the numbers.
Trade in face.
Oh, God. This is just starting to get real strong.
Yeah.
Ooh, that Undying Resentment is actually huge. As it will kill Tove.
It would kill the Tove, but then Alice is actually going to buff the Merman and the Grimnir.
Your offering.
Decides to
Right.
go with Pack. With
But
another
that
gun.
does remove 3 off the board that he doesn't get hit by. Oh god.
Which is
Oh,
really
man.
important.
Lands of marvels.
That's his new 5 actually. Play Angel, hit face, evolve Faria. This is
You know, this is about to be, it's about to be textbook neutral blood.
yeah. He
that
could
resent-
play
there's-
Lyrial
What can he
Undying
do?
Resentment is actually not bad at all, because Undying Resentment only needs 2 shadows.
right.
So he does get rid of both the 3/4s.
Let's play again.
Yeah, but now he's going to have to, you know, definitely deal with
Killing me.
Well, let's see. This Angel of the Word can shoot that. Feria comes down. Evolve the Feria. I mean, yeah. I mean, wrap it up.
He's actually got a lot of different lines here. He could search for the spawn to play it next turn, or he could go for the more aggressive Angel of the Word board clear into the Feria evolve. That would also protect his merman from the other Lyrial, so never mind. Okay.
He's got Phantom Cat. He's not playing
that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, alright, man.
That makes a lot more sense. Now we see a situation where you could potentially just
He's not even playing the half and half, the half cream or half milk build we've seen going around. He's full on milk.
Right.
Oh gosh.
That is for full top deck is just not gonna help either.
It's not gonna make it to turn 9.
And even though Praetorian kind of played around Lyrial, she's still gonna find value in 2-for-1 here. This card is insane. she's still gonna do it.
Lyrial is. It's not going anywhere.
We should make Lyrial the mascot of the game, man. She's just
everywhere.
Everywhere.
Just good.
Every deck.
So I do think that Saboir on Lyrial, Goblin Evolve over Grimner is much better than Phantom Cat this turn. You set up a lot more on board, get that 4-face. Yeah.
Yep, I agree with that line.
Yeah. And
I think that line is the
think
strongest.
going by the overall strategy of saving your direct damage for last just seems to make more sense. If you have an opportunity to get them even closer to the point where you can just like ping them down and kill them, I think that's much more valuable than trying to somehow swing for as much as you can right now, and then just coming just short, and then your opponent somehow, squeezes their way out of the scenario.
Right, especially against Shadow, who can almost very easily just play Cowies and then squeeze themselves out of scenarios. So he's also got that is for Phil as well, but yeah, Praetorian's just gonna push too much board control, too much damage.
Yep. So I said at the beginning of this match, wrap it up. And I'm wrapping it up now.
You're going on vacation already?
Soul conversion. This is
Oh.
double Mordecai. Oh no.
That's not what you want, man.
Yep, Mordecai can't die, but you sure can.
Exactly. I'm leaving.
I'm leaving.
I'm done.
Praetorian with the 2-0 will move on. Shadow Blood, or rather Sword Blood, has been doing really well for him. And so he will be waiting in the losers finals. And I think he really, we'll have to see, because when we come back from the break, we're going to be watching the winners finals, and that's between Sheepy and Darzello. So we'll have to see how Praetorian can match up against those guys. I'm really curious who sent Praetorian into the losers bracket, because he obviously has a lot of kind of nuance to his play, and I think he's very smart. He's thinking about the meta in a very good way, and he brought decks that reflect that, right? I think he's playing the 3-deck 1-ban format really well right now, so he will eliminate Catch. That means Catch will be 4th place, but that does mean that Catch does actually move on to the round-robin stage, and we'll be seeing more. We'll be seeing more of them. But so far, what do you guys think of the tournament play? Who do you think is the favorite to kind of take first place in this particular qualifier? Give me your prediction between Sheepy, Darzello, Praetorian. Out of these 3 players, who do you think is going to make it out of the qualifiers at first?
Well, experience tells me that Sheepy is probably the favorite. He's a very consistent tournament performer, and he would probably be my pick to win this. Envy,
give me your prediction. Who out of the 3?
I think Sheepy's my pick as well. Mostly he's a name I recognize, and he's a solid player. I've seen him play quite a bit, so I think Sheepy's my pick also.
I personally am rooting for Swordcraft, so for me, it's going to be Praetorian, because I want to see Swordcraft take the win. But at the same time, who knows? Coming from losers bracket is a very tough thing to do. So before we head off to break, want to remind you guys of how to participate in the Shadowverse Open. You go to shadowverse.ng.io, and then there you can sign up for the last week of qualifiers. If you're North American, you can play in the qualifier tomorrow. But just one more week of qualifiers after this, and then we're heading into a round robin stage. You can also find broadcast times and a bunch more information there. Also remember, at Shadowverse Game, you can tweet at us anything Shadowverse related, anything Shadowverse Open related. Talk to the Swordcraft deck that you saw today. Talk about how Envy can predict lots of things to go right. Talk about anything you want. Go there. And hashtag NSVO and tell us who you think is going to win, either be qualified or take first place in this qualifier tournament, or in the round robin stages when we get there, who your favorite player is. And with that, we will head into a short break, but we won't go anywhere, and neither should you. After that, winners finals coming right at you. welcome back to the NGE Shadowverse Open Season 2. Lots of new things, new expansion, new format, more players, new commentators. We have Aya Senpai from Shadow Nexus joining us. How have you been enjoying the tournament so far?
Man, it's been a very, very, very entertaining tournament.
And, of course, joining us as well, as my voice gives out randomly, we have Envy Bear kind of helping us with the commentary. How have you been enjoying the tournament experience so far?
I'd have to agree. I think it's really interesting and diverse so far.
And, on that note, actually, we've had Dragoncraft, Shadowcraft, Runecraft, Havecraft, Swordcraft, and Bloodcraft show up today. So that's almost everything. The only thing missing is Forest. Actually, what the? Forest is the only one that's missing?
Yep.
Please, somebody out there, if you are watching, please play some Forestcraft and make it to the top ends of this qualifier. How can Forest be the only one missing? All right, before I get too emotional about it all, let's take a look at the prizes that are to be offered for this qualifier tournament. First place going to win 30,000 files, and we are pricing all the way down to 16th place in this qualifier tournament. Gets 1,500 vials, so lots of vials to be had. Make sure you guys sign up to participate, and maybe you can take a part of that. Of course, the top 4 players from EU will qualify for the invitationals, and we have already discovered who those 4 players are. And I'll quickly go through them one more time. We've got Sheepy, Derzello, Praetorian, and Catch are the 4 players that will move on to the invitational stage, which is a round robin. And now we are deciding who is going to take first, second, third, and fourth place, which is going to Catch. He was eliminated by Praetorian before he went to break. But now there's 3 players left. We'll see how the rest of this tournament plays out. EXG Sheepy seems to be the favorite amongst our 2 community experts here. And Derzello, I think is somewhat of a more unfamiliar name. And that's kind of interesting. I think in the match that Derzello played against Catch before, I think he looked pretty strong. He looked pretty okay, but Sheepy is definitely a more known factor. Talk to me about kind of Sheepy's playstyle. I know Aya Senpai, you said you were a little more familiar with him. Talk to me a little bit about traditionally what Sheepy likes to do and how he likes to play in Shadowverse.
Well, actually, I'm familiar with both of the players, but Sheepy is very meticulous with his plays. Like, there are times where he'll take forever on the simplest decision, and I think he does it on purpose. It kind of gets under his opponent's nerves a little bit, but actually it works out. Like, he's, again, very, very solid player. He always performs well in tournaments, so yeah, it's no surprise he's here.
And what about Derzello? Actually, you mentioned that you were a little more familiar with Derzello. Tell me a little bit about him, because as we kind of watch these players more, and hopefully as they can accept the invitation to the round robin, we'll be seeing a lot more of them. But tell me a little bit about Derzello and kind of what his personality is and what his playstyle is.
Well, Derzello is, I would say, eccentric. He actually streams, and I've seen his stream a few times. He's been in a few of my tournaments, so that makes me a little bit more familiar with him. But yeah, he's so eccentric. He does things a little off the beaten path, but there's nothing wrong with that. Off
the beaten path. Now, the theme of the day today has been Havencraft. It's just been everywhere. Envy, Dark Jean Garuda. Is there anything that makes you think a little harder about the Havencraft kind of deck archetype here? What do you think is the benefit of running something like Dark Jean in this kind of lineup?
I think if you're going to go for the more board-centered neutral package, Dark Jean could probably give you a better, even with Lion, maybe even, Dark Jean could give you a better burst later on. But I think that if you want to play March Hare's Tea Time, which I'm pretty sure most Haven decks do, then you want to play Garuda. But it looks like he's playing all of that.
Yeah, he's definitely...
Derzello's playing all 4 of those.
So I'm actually interested in looking at the deck lists and kind of figuring out what that is at a cost of, right? Because cards, you can only have 40 of them, right? So you're having to trade something for something. I'm really curious to see what Derzello kind of swapped out, and maybe after the tournament we can have a few we can ask a few questions so that we can endeavor to discover what that might be. But Drizello versus EXG Sheepy, how are the hands looking, guys?
Well, he can clear this with the Dragon Fist, but I don't think he would want to do that, because if he did, he would end up discarding his Draconic Fervor. Oh man, now he's punished for it.
But
No, God.
letting Alice hit those,
Now he's punished for it. This is not
now
looking
we can't
good.
clear that,
Yeah,
and this
Yeah.
is bad.
yeah.
Not good.
The
that is
3
not
to
a
the 4.
Is that a Lucifer?
Yep.
I haven't
That
seen a
is a-
Lucifer in so long.
Lucifer's really good, just
Oh,
not when
no.
you're dying.
This is
Oh
bad
man,
now.
this game's over already. You know, like,
This is really, really, really bad.
Oh, God.
Flower.
oh no, this game's already over.
You were done
Yep.
for.
Yeah.
You're done?
Unfortunately
Wow.
with Sheepy, I don't see a way he comes back into this now.
I see.
No.
Oh, my
He would
God.
he would have to draw Conflagration right now.
He needs Themistocry.
Yep, he needs to board clear immediately because those stats don't disappear.
Oh!
You know?
Ow.
Oh!
He drew the Conflag.
I cannot believe.
But the thing is, he's
He's dead.
still dead.
He's still just dead, though.
Yep.
Evolved the Alice played a dark Jean, game's
Yep.
over.
Oh my God.
Couple
Play
lines,
that.
actually.
I didn't
Even
see
just
that.
Tea Time did it.
There were so many
Yeah.
different ways he could have done it. Hey,
Yeah.
we were talking about it right when we started. I was gonna ask, Dark Jean, like, what are the benefits as opposed to the deficits, and kind of what are the weaknesses of bringing all of those options there? Because it was definitely overkill when we got to that point, right? You had Dark Jean, you had Tin Soldier, you had the Garuda. There are 3 different ways you can approach it, and I guess that worked out very well for Sheepy, right? You know what?
For
Honestly,
Darzel.
is there much more to say about the game? Is there much more to say?
He had everything and just kind of drew into more of everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Share some of the wealth, Drizello.
And
This one's for
Onion
my
Sheep
family.
let Blood through, and Blood's going first.
Interesting.
Oh, no!
Oh
Neutral Blood
man,
going
this
first.
is.
And
Oh
he's got
come
the
on!
hand. Almost.
Come on, man!
Poor Sheepy. Poor Sheepy.
If only that
Come
was
on.
a Tove.
Give him a chance.
Yeah. 2 times he
Sheepies.
tried Dragon as well. So that's actually interesting. We were
Yeah.
talking about the strategies you would employ if you let Blood through, either using Shadow or using Haven. I think Sheepy probably would have benefited a lot by attempting to go with one of the alternate decks at this point, right?
Right.
Probably. Oh, and
Oh.
he drew the.
God.
Oh, no. I actually agree with that completely. Sheepy choosing to bring Dragon into the mix because of its AoE, I think is just going to end up not being that great again.
No, it's not. And he doesn't even have ramp for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I am a flower.
And he has currently no answer to that. The Alice comes down. Oh my goodness.
Oh, no.
man.
The Isla doing a lot of nothing.
This is looking.
Yeah, Isla just gets ignored
pretty-
completely.
pretty-
Wonders. Lands of marvels.
All right.
He's like neutral back to back.
2 Pete. Now the question is, what is the difference? So the the flavor of the last match was the Garuda, right? Right at the end there, he was like, "All right, I'll give you a little bit of Havencraft." This time, EXG Sheepy is getting beat up by Alice left and right.
Dragons roll.
Yeah, beat up is the exact thing that's happening here.
All right, Dragon
Beat up.
Summoner gets evolved here.
Power.
Try to take some semblance of control over the board, but Sabura on turn
Yeah.
5 is really gonna, even if you were to pull out a miracle and somehow get this situation under control, the Sabura just comes in and
Oh,
says,
no.
Let's play again.
"Oh,
Split up. It could have killed Alice, but
Yeah.
another
But-
Alice."
for Alice.
And this happens.
Yeah.
Lands of marvels.
This feels
That's,
so bad, dude.
Oh God.
You know, Sheepy does have Sybil this turn. It's not
He
that
does have
bad,
his
but that's a
Sybil,
1 mana
yes.
3/4 goblin. That goblin has
Yep.
the same stats as Alice.
I know, right?
And the goblin is happy about it.
Goblin's
Look
the
at
same stats.
that goblin is a happy dude. Oh,
I don't even blame Drizello for just pushing for this damage. Like, he can only play the
Yeah.
Sybil here.
yeah.
Because actually, you know, Drizello is actually in kind of a problem here. If Dragon is able to, you know, evolve the Sybil and stabilize a little bit, it's, you know,
He's
Drizello's
got
done
healing.
for. Like,
He's definitely
He's got the
healing.
board and the Saboar, basically.
Yep. He's got Ouroboros,
he also
Israfil.
has,
But
yeah, he has
Yeah.
Ouroboros he can play next turn.
it's one
So
off lethal.
Oh god.
Giselle actually one off lethal here.
yeah. I mean, your play here is to just play the Sabrewer, kill the.
I am a flower.
Right.
I
Oh.
bloom on stage.
Or you just go in.
Check this out.
You could do that too.
I say.
Yeah, well, I mean, realistically, the Sybil can't trade again. Oh, never mind. Okay, I was gonna say Sybil can't trade again, and if he heals 3 with Sybil, you don't care, because Saboar does 2 on ETB, so...
Yep. Well, that'll clear. No, no.
No, well, let's see. Sahaquiel plays Israfil.
Yeah, you'd have to evolve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd have to evolve to clear. But he's not gaining any health, so really any other burn
yeah,
that
we'll close it out.
Giselo draws, he could draw
Yeah.
a Razory Claw. Game's over.
Mm-hmm.
But
He
I
also
think
has to
you
consider,
have
if he doesn't heal at all, like, the Mad Hatter can do 4 to him, so...
You follow behind.
You mean no?
He's gonna go for the
you mean
Israfil, though, it looks
Phantom
like.
Cat?
So cruel.
Yeah, he's going for the Israfil here.
Fighting is so sorrowful.
So, oh, Phantom Cat, yeah, sorry. I said Mad Hatter, I don't know why.
There's no problem.
If he doesn't kill that
Yeah,
goblin,
you have
okay,
to
yeah.
take.
So Phantom Cat is lethal.
Sacred night.
Nothing else. Actually, any 2 mana, 1 damage with Saboar is lethal.
Phantom Cat is potentially lethal. That's not doing it. Actually,
Knuckle
this
is a-
could
is a
be
big
the
break.
break that Onion Sheep needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're drawing 1 card at a time right now, right? So,
Right. He plays that Israfil. He goes up. He trades into the
Sabrewer.
Sabrewer.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yep.
he's got a second one as well.
And this is actually
Oh,
what I was
man,
saying.
this
If Dragon ever stabilizes, this is over.
From
Completely.
Yeah.
the precipice of doom. Literally 1 health. If...
Oh, my turn late!
Wow. There was the
man!
call right there.
That's so brutal, dude. And then he took damage because he felt like it. Oh, man.
Because he felt like it.
Yeah, he doesn't know there's another Israfil there. This is unfortunate for Giselo. He had the curve, man, but Dragon just... Their cards, they're so
Oh
good.
my god. He just spent it too.
Yep.
Oh my
Double
god.
Draconic Fervor clearing the 3/4 afterwards is game over. No, there's no way Giselo wins after that, but, you know, he also could just play Israfil and clear as well.
We're just gonna take the swing here. Bodyguard is down, so it just...
Yeah, I would play this right now. Yeah.
Alright.
Wow. And
Oh
Anything
my
above
god,
4
I can't
is,
believe
is
it.
safe town.
what?
He got it!
Wow.
Any of these cards!
Oh, man.
Oh my
No.
god!
Well,
How
actually, yay.
infuriating
Wow.
is that? What the heck did we just see? I feel
How
like
did
we
that
are
happen?
we are watching this tournament. Seems like it is literally a clash of Tempest of the Gods versus Wonderland Dreams. We are literally seeing Tempest of the Gods decks say, hey, Bloodcraft, there are things that we can do too that are pretty good. That was literally like, if it was not 95% capacity, it was like close to the full breadth of what Bloodcraft could offer, right? I think the only thing missing is drawing into the Abyss, right? He didn't get Baphomet, he didn't get Abyss. I don't even know if that existed in his deck. I guess he didn't get Baphomet, Abyss, or Phantom Cat, depending on which one he picked or the combination of the few. So that would have definitely been a nail in the coffin, but
Is fighting in
Hey,
despair all you
how much
know?
more do you want? You literally got the Sesame Street curve with Alice, double Alice, right? How much more do you want?
He
Well,
does have a better matchup this time, I think. So,
yeah, definitely a better matchup. I mean, just looking from the curve that Giselo had last game, it was almost unbelievable that he could lose that game.
Mhm.
Yet, he lost the game.
but Dragon got there.
That-
Sweet
it-
justice
I
was
would say
delivered.
this, though. The one thing from the last game was the conflagration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He
100%,
drew
yeah,
it
I'd say that.
exactly when he needed it.
Yep.
Yep.
The conflagration was absolutely key, and that is one of the big reasons why Dragoncraft decks are starting to run that card now. Really, really valuable. A lot of people were saying how it would be too expensive. You know, too late.
Well, I mean, if you're ramping, 7 mana is not that expensive.
Yep.
Sheepy's got a pretty
This is
strong
what I
hand
mean.
this game,
Okay. Obviously, you play the Sacred Plea. Yeah, you think so. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
though.
What are you thinking about there, Sheepy?
Do I play the Sacred Plea?
You know, maybe he
Or do
spilled
I
coffee
play
on his
the
cat or
Sacred-
something. You never know what's going on.
Yeah. Conversing
I could see-
strategy with his cat.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Shimmer in the night.
Okay. And
Ooh,
there's
Grisello
a
gets the
Tove.
Tove, but it's not gonna matter,
Oh,
unfortunately.
On the play Snow White.
Yep, on the play Snow White or double Black in Scripture. Like, he's got answers
he's
for
got
days.
every answer he could want.
Yep. Looks like he's gonna use
He-
to. Ooh, never mind. Okay, he's gonna let Tove hit him.
I'm very interested in why.
Why?
Maybe because he can double Blacken next turn. That's the plan, I guess.
Interesting.
Sacred
Yep.
Plea is popping this turn, though.
Why not, like, take the damage off the board? Take the word game.
Ooh.
Maybe
It's White Tiger.
Sheepy has in his mind that he just wants to play super aggressive, so he values the face damage, even if it's just 1.
It's possible, yeah. He also might be saving these Snow Whites, keeping them pristine for Dark Jun, maybe? I'm not sure. If he procs them
Yeah, but-
both into 2/3s the
What is the
same
order
turn,
of
and then
operations
plays
there?
Dark Jun, they'd be 4/1s
Well,
with
the
Rush,
buff
so-
wouldn't happen
Yeah, when does the
because
buff
the
happen?
card that the buff would happen before the Snow Whites would come back into play.
No, if he kills the 2 Snow Whites, making them 2/3s, and then plays Jun.
Oh,
Then they would both
Oh.
then
end
yes. That,
Yep.
Yeah, they'd be 4/1s. But that's just not gonna happen, because Lyriel's gonna make sure one of them dies here.
Still, that's pretty valuable for the Snow Whites.
I bloom
and this is a
Yeah, they're definitely
premium
in there.
preset
They're
cudgel.
Yep.
Or
Ooh.
that.
There's so many options!
Yeah. Tea Time
I mean, I
leaves a
think you
very
can play
strong
Mark.
body up for Jun next turn as well, so.
That is true.
Just like Mark.
As well as keeping Snow White up so he could go for the 4 attack second part Snow White that I want to see happen now.
There's a tea time.
The real battle.
If there's any card that has made a difference for Haven in this expansion, other than Snow White, it is certainly March Air's Tea Time.
Definitely. Card is insanely good. 10 Soldiers Evolve effect is a premium evolve effect.
Yeah. It's like, why did you ever run Ancient Lion Spirit?
Yeah, that's right. The Forgotten card
Yeah.
now. Truly
If
ancient.
Saboir snipes the 1/1, turning it into a 2/3, and then trades into the 5/4, you can just play Jun and have a 4/1 to go face with.
Yep.
This is one of the few times Jun is just amazing.
Heal back.
I'm wondering what he's running Jean in place of. And he didn't evolve.
Ooh, ooh! If he evolves Snow White, throws it into the Bane, then plays Jun, goes face for 7 with a 4/1 Snow White on the board.
Oh,
This is
man.
just, I'm just having fun with these Juns.
Save all worlds.
Oh,
Goes for a different play. He does get to use the second part of Snow White to kill the Bane, though, so.
False idols, man.
This will also preserve an Evo.
Be afraid of.
Get him in the face.
My plan is a little
Oh.
more aggressive. Ooh. BKB is amazing here.
Yeah, that was a good draw.
It's amazing. It's the best card he could have drawn. It clears both of them.
These fists will finish you.
And less
Well,
important.
technically, Saboir would kill both.
I feel like these neutral package Abyss decks really aren't making use of Vengeance at all, though, right?
No, they don't.
No, I mean, I guess only card that would oh well, some run Alucard, so that does factor in, and also Emeralda.
Yeah, Emeralda. Yeah.
Or they could just
She
get
does
Tribunal.
gain. Yeah, that's good.
I mean,
Really good.
you just played Darkjan here. It clears the board.
Gives you
Still,
a body.
you keep the Tribunal.
Probably, yeah. It's the better play, I think.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think you just jammed Darkjan here. This is the best Darkjan he's probably getting.
What? No, the 7 attack, 10 soldier was the better Dark Giant.
Well, I mean, after
him
that,
so
like,
good.
At this point. At this
He hit
point.
him so hard.
Yeah, the 7 damage Dark Shot was pretty good.
yeah,
this
well, I'm
point-
not
White Tiger
saying
Cudgel's
that
kinda
was
whatever.
bad. I'm saying like right now. Like,
Yeah. At
Yeah.
this point, moving forward, the Dark John is probably going to find the most value in this scenario here.
The thing is, if he White Tiger cudgels and evolves Cudgel, he's gonna go for it. I think he's setting up for Gen next turn.
You're done for.
Yep.
I see, awakening.
I think
Spends
he
the
wants to
orb.
Gen next turn. He wants to have an excuse to play White Tiger.
hey, don't hate on that card, man.
Horribly inefficient 3 mana 3/2.
Hey, that thing can trade evenly into a toad.
Yeah, on 3 mana.
Well, I mean,
But you're playing an affection
you can
that
look
already
at-
has the 2 mana answer to Tove. Like, Snow
Well,
White.
I'm saying right now because he has Tove and Goblin.
Yeah, right now, right now. Tove is actually pretty good because it does allow him to play Tove into Goblin to trade, but, you know, Dark Shun is gonna make that bad.
Yeah.
Yep. Dark Shun makes this bad.
Yep. And you were saying White Tiger. Look at that work.
Oh my gosh.
Look at the work.
The same work that a Grimnir would have done.
Maybe, yeah, but
There's
well,
that
actually, the Tove would have lived. But still, I get your point.
Yeah, the
Base.
Dark Gen would have. But yeah, I actually love that he saved Dark Gen there because there's really nothing Blood can do now. Like,
Nope.
sure he can evolve and do 8 phase, but right, both of these minions will do lethal to him. So
Yep, dead.
Dead.
Well,
really,
He can
well,
heal.
actually, not lethal. If he kills the priest, that's 5 damage. Only 1 remains.
right, he can heal out of lethal range.
Yeah, but there's no way he's
He's
winning this
last
game.
level.
But still, because he'll have to play the Sabrewer, target face, evolve it, hit the priest, it leaves the Dark Jean, and then the 4/5 Tin Soldier comes into play next turn. So, and he has no answer for that.
Unless he draws Revelation, which then
Oh.
Grimnir kills him anyway, the following turn anyway. Okay.
Okay,
Well.
this one's
Or he can play Spawn and ram it into the priest.
Yeah, he still dies though because he doesn't get healing.
He's still dead.
Yeah, and then
Like, nice and dead.
So there we have it.
oh man.
EXG Sheepy. Man, just barely survives and comes back to defeat Derzello and send him into the losers final. I can't believe
Yup.
it, everything looked like it was going Derzello's way, right?
It
He
did.
blew out the first game, and the second game he had the most blowout deck that Bloodcraft has seen in this tournament so far, and Dragoncraft made it. The healing, man. The self-healing is incredible sometimes on Dragoncraft. So between now, we have in the losers bracket Praetorian versus Derzello. And Praetorian is fielding the Bloodcraft and the Swordcraft deck, and I don't think we've seen the third one yet. But how do you feel like Swordcraft is going to fare against some of these options that Derzello has, Aya Senpai?
Well, I think Sword will actually do pretty good. I'm feeling Sword for some reason has been high rolling really well today, and I wouldn't expect it to run out of luck yet. So I think Sword's going to do pretty good.
How do you feel, Envy, about some of maybe the possibility of a Bloodcraft mirror? Do you think that's going to be the thing, or do you feel like they're just going to both ban and then just deal with kind of the Sword matchup into maybe the, I'm not sure, into the Haven matchup or something like that?
Well, I think most players have realized that if you don't ban Blood and you get lucky on the first second, you can actually just bully Blood out of the game if they end up going second. So, we might actually see a Blood Mirror. Unfortunately, a Blood Mirror will probably come down to whoever goes first will win. But, yeah, I actually think we might see a Blood Mirror. Yeah.
Interesting. So that could possibly be an outcome here, and we are just about ready to kind of wrap up this tournament. There's just the losers final and then the grand finals left. EXG Sheepy, kind of spoken as the favorite to kind of take first place in this particular tournament, is sitting and waiting to see who will face him, either Praetorian or Derzello, for the rematch, and that's going to be really interesting, right? Derzello on the rematch, maybe he's not going to roll as well, but maybe neither is EXG Sheepy, right? I mean, you have to. The conflagration was at the exact right time, and the self-healing, as well as the fact it was the counter luck, right? It was both the conflagration as well as the fact that your Razor Claw and your second Sabura came up right after
afterwards.
Yep. I just can't. My brain is still on that game right now, and that just goes to show you how important card draw is. Right. What do you think about kind of Bloodcraft, and do you think there is space to provide it even that slightly larger layer of consistency? I or Envy, I suppose. What do you feel like is a better thing to maybe include in a Bloodcraft deck to provide it that element of consistency?
It's hard to say because honestly, I don't. With the Bloodcraft lists the way they are, I don't think you can really mess with them that much. I think they just get played and hope for the best. You know, hope they high roll really well and that Tove sticks for at least a turn, and then just keep running forward. I don't think you need to add any additional draw to the deck. I mean, you already have Baphomet that searches out your win condition. You have like either Phantom Cat or Spawn to finish the game out, or Phantom Cat to draw cards. That's drawing cards right there. So, I mean, if they want that more consistency, they could go with the Phantom Cat variation, just because of the draw. Even if you don't do any damage, you're still getting the draw. So you're drawing more options to be able to play more things. But I don't really think there's much else you could really add to the deck. The deck is, even between Spawn and Phantom Cat, can't really do much more with it.
There's not much more space to wiggle. So that's obviously a very strong deck here in Wonderland Dreams, and all of that could change as the update kind of may come through at any moment. I believe the 30th is a date that it's set to happen, and so next week we're going to be watching a very, very different game. But if you guys want to talk more about all these decks and the possibilities and what you've seen today about the Shadowverse Open, or if you just want to talk about Shadowverse in general, or if you want to talk about Aya Senpai's shirt, you can go to @ShadowverseGame and tweet about all of that. Share with us your thoughts. We're eager to hear that. Also, shadowverse.ng.io. Right here, sign up for tournaments as well as find out when the broadcast times are, and more information. All of that you can find on the website, and definitely hope to see you participating in next week's tournament. If you are from Europe, then today is the day that the second week is happening, so you can't sign up for that, but next week, the last week, you can still do that. If you're North America, quickly go now and sign up for tomorrow's second week qualifier tournament, and then you still have one more opportunity next week. But after that, all the qualifiers are done, so the round robin will get started. 3 weeks of qualifiers, then 4 weeks of round robin, as well as many more cool things to come in Season 2. Super glad to have you guys on the commentary, kind of helping out. In your mind, kind of from kind of the community, I know Aya Senpai, you run a lot of tournaments on the Shadow Nexus side. How have you taken to Wonderland Dreams competitively? How has the competitive scene kind of adapted to kind of these strong decks that are coming in and making their place, like Bloodcraft with Spawn of the Abyss and whatnot? How do you feel this meta is playing out, especially within the bands? I know a lot of the community is taking up bands in their tournament. Do you think the variety is actually... I get the feeling now, candidly, I get the feeling that the variety is actually much more healthy than Tempest of the Gods, especially with the bans. I think even with the bans in Tempest of the Gods, yes, I feel like
leaves and bounds.
the interesting thing is even with the bans in Tempest of the Gods, like we didn't really see the variety that we see now in Wonderland Dreams. Is that correct?
That's definitely correct. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, Wonderland Dreams is so ridiculous because of Spawn in the Abyss," and we knew that Spawn was, really, really powerful. But I mean, if you look at a lot of the games that, even just today, we actually found this out in our tournament that we did last week. That Spawn, for some reason, just doesn't do well in tournaments. It's done well on ladder. For sure, it has a very overwhelming success on ladder, but in tournaments, Spawn just has not been performing. And that is quite telling to say that this format is really much more open than I think some people are giving it credit for.
All right. Well, speak of the devil, as we jump into this losers finals here, and this actually makes a lot of sense. Runecraft is actually a very largely banned deck in tournament format. I think a lot of people do not want to deal with Dimensional Shift at all, just because there is that risk that you just get blown out, and there's very little counterplay to it, right? So actually it makes sense that you would let Blood through against their Zello here. Talk to me a little bit about this matchup, MV, Praetorian versus their Zello. Where do you think the advantage will be gained from for either side here?
Well, Dorzello is, obviously on the D-Shift build. He can avoid killing Praetorian's creatures. He could just not cast the Fire Chain to not trigger the Attendant of Knights. Praetorian does have an Erd there, but for the most part, Dorzello can just dodge around these things. Lurching Corpses won't have any effects, Necro Assassins won't have any effects, and just going to come down to if he can draw a combo or not.
All right, well, certainly it's not a good start for Runecraft, as we see nothing of...
Yeah, high quality bricks in his hand right now. Very high quality.
This just happens when you play D-Shift sometimes too. Like, you're forced to sort cache fire chains, you're forced to just kind of, never draw Dimension Shift and stop playing the deck. But it happens sometimes, man.
It does. It feels really bad when it does.
It does, yeah, it does. Not to mention these Golem Assaults, they do technically double spell boost. The Golem itself is considered a spell as well, but it's very weak right now, as it's not boosting anything.
Yeah. This is the ideal bad situation for Runecraft, I feel like. We saw a game earlier, I guess it must have been Dorzello who was running Rune, where he actually started out the game with both the Destroyer and a D-Shift, and he was able to really boost that. That actually gave him the win on, turn 10, exactly when that happened, or at least turn 9 was when he activated his D-Shift. But this is like almost the polar opposite of that.
Yeah, this is... I mean, his hand is just nothing. And this is even worse, because he can't clear this.
Oh, God.
It can. He has Levi Witchbolt. He can. This is getting worse and worse. The longer he doesn't draw D-Shift, though, he's playing a bluff game. And he'll just lose. If he doesn't draw it, he'll just lose.
Well, he has Levy Witchbolt, but he's sitting on... There's a lot of damage still going to be sitting on board after that.
Yeah, sure.
Like he can't clear all... He can clear a good amount of damage, but he can't clear all of this.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Even if Fire Chain were stacked up, it would just spawn a 4 for a Lich, so...
Yep.
This Witchbolt will draw him a card, fortunately. However.
Yes.
I'll live again.
And that's not the card he wanted.
Oh my god.
He has Magic Missile, I suppose.
I feel for him, dude. I've played D-Shift so many times, and I've been here before. This is not good. This is like bad news Bears town.
Yeah, that's definitely bad news Bears, yes.
Oh, God.
This feels bad, man. Because Praetorian can just attack face with both. He can literally just play Attendant of Night into Demon Eater and just ignore Levi. He doesn't care.
Oh.
Or just, do that as well and go face with an Evolve here.
Go for a ton of damage.
Yeah, or you just evolve here. This is actually probably this game.
Yeah. I really don't know what Durzello can do right now. Like,
Unbelievable.
D-Shift certainly does not bring any kind of warding or healing, so...
no.
Oh, there it is!
That shift is really late to the party. Well,
They actually used to
what's
play.
his fire chain at?
They used to play Summon Ice Form, but it doesn't seem like he's playing that in this.
No.
That's a pretty big fire chain,
9?
however, so that's good. Yeah.
Look at that thing go! Oh my god!
Yeah, nine is the full
Wow,
player.
it cleared the board. Pretty sick, actually.
So, Cerberus will give 2 damage in terms of direct damage.
You gonna mess with me?
And eventually...
Right, but
You gonna mess with me?
attendant will Demon Eater next turn. Drawn to more gas.
Oh man.
That's...
I mean, this is actually what he needs. He needs to be getting these in his hand.
Yeah, but
I would much
he
prefer
also
the...
needs,
Yeah.
he also needs to not be dying.
That's...
He can still play Golem and evolve it.
What's the Wind Blast at? Is the Wind Blast at well, I guess we'll
Should be a
find out.
4. It should be a 4.
Well, then he can definitely play that.
Mm-hmm. Can play Wind Blast, or he can play Golem into Conjure Golem Evolve. Would be open to Cerberus, but doesn't know that. Petrification
Yeah,
on
this
Attendant is
is-
actually kind of a double-edged sword also.
I'll live again.
Yep. There's the Wind Blast.
Let's see. He has... Doesn't he have 7 damage on board? Or he has 3, 5, and then the 2 damage from the Cerb. He has 4 damage from Cerb, so that's 7. So he's just dead?
Yeah, if he plays Cerb, he's just that attendant can do 5 damage, plus the evolve will make it do 7.
Yeah.
So,
He's dead.
This line, unfortunately, is just dead to Cerberus.
yep. Wow. And I mean,
Yep.
super unfortunate. We talked about. I feel like some of the advantages here were also disadvantages in the sense that, well, I guess they weren't really advantage, but just in the sense that we mentioned earlier on that Durzello can kind of sidestep destroying followers, you know, just to stop the liches from being spawned. But by the same token, there was no real good reason, or there's no real good way for Durzello to spend his spell cards because of that very same reason, right? So
Right.
D-Shift, I mean, he's basically just going to have to roll again, right? Honestly,
Yeah.
like that situation,
Yeah.
turn, what, 6 or 7 before you saw your first D-Shift is really tough. And this is kind of what we're talking about, where the Dreadsea version, and I think this version as well actually runs Freshman Lu, or if there are other cards, I mean, Fate's Hand came up really late too. How many different options do you have to try to secure your Flame Destroyer and D-Shift in the traditional Dimensional Shift deck?
Usually as many as
well,
possible.
some decks run Merlin,
You must die.
so that would help get their D shifts. But a lot of builds have actually been steering away from that and going with more of the Lu build. So
Praetorian coming in with the Swordcraft deck is going to be an alternate here. And we've seen this deck perform very admirably today.
yeah, this is in his favor. Sword is very strong against D shift.
But
Now-
D-Shift,
I would actually say Durzello's in the advantage here.
I think the
I
thing
think
about
that
D-Shift...
control sword, slower sword. I think he's completely fine. He's also playing fire chains too, so those full offensors aren't going to do anything.
Right, this is the control sword list. I can't see that card. It looks like a white paladin though.
White Paladin,
It
yep.
is.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is the control sword list, right? So yeah. Ignore what I said, listen to what she said.
I
He does
think that's
actually have to
interesting,
get the fire
yeah.
chain though. If he doesn't get the fire chain going, then it's not going to clear that floral fencer. But he's on the draw instead of on the play, so floral fencer won't come down on 4, which is good.
All right.
He still has the ability to get a Master Mage, I'm sorry, Time War Mage Levy, which he just did. So that will help him with stabilizing.
Also, a huge difference this game, a humongous difference, is that he drew a very early Fate's Hand, which is usually almost essential for actually being able to play the game. And this is just going to die. Levi's going to take care of both of those.
Definitely. So that's an easy play.
Holding that
Burn
Fate's
the
Hand for
Grimnir,
next turn,
trade.
cashing in on a 0-cost one. And there you go, dude. Oh, never mind. He goes for the 1-mana one.
Well, it uses his play points a little better. So, and he does get the spell boost.
That is true.
The blade of judgment falls.
It worked out for him, too. Drawing another Fate's Hand off the first one is almost always what you want to happen. And he just set up Magic Missile on himself really well. Praetorian
Yeah.
working directly.
This is a premium Magic Missile.
Oh, you
And
even
he
got
got a
Sword Cash. Yeah, I really... Dorzello's got this, man. I really...
Yeah, yeah. This game's looking pretty
It's
wrapped
almost
up.
in the bag at this point.
The poor
right,
hedgehog
so-
gets sniped.
Probably
Well,
opts to play
he just-
the blue here instead of the golem. Okay, never mind. He wants to keep the golem. That does protect him against Alwida's this turn, so...
Yeah, he has this stave off damage. He can't just leave that damage on board, and so
I was gonna say, like, Alwida's Evolve doesn't put him... Alwida's Evolve is impossible, because that gets rid of the Albert Evolve. Is that a Tsubaki?
wow.
Now that we know that he was gonna top deck a Tsubaki.
I don't think we could have
Man.
known that because we didn't see it in any of his previous games.
What I was gonna say is Alwida's Evolve wasn't gonna happen, and stopping half of Albert's attack is better than stopping an Alwida's attack, so...
Right.
That is a Tsubaki, and Fire Chain would be MVP right here, able to hit a stealth card, but it's just not gonna be. There it is,
Ooh.
finally.
Yeah, but he can't. He can't.
It doesn't do anything. It does one.
Hey man, four plate points for 1 damage. That's the dream.
Oh no. Oh no, this went back so fast.
Yeah, it did. I mean, you can just jam out Widows. Yeah.
Hey, Captain.
Yep. Jamalwitas do 7 face, and then this is just
Yep. Thanks for playing.
it's looking really good for Praetorian. That Tsubaki top deck was just that was out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's off the top rope status.
That was a Rise of Bahamut tech right there. He's playing a Rise of Bahamut sword.
Rise of Bahamut Sword. What's interesting, I feel like, is there's definitely... I think there's a way to spell boost your way out of it. Because you could clear, right, this turn? I'm pretty sure there's a way to do that. And if you
His Fire
survive
Chain
one
does
more
too.
turn
Sword
after
Cash
that...
onto Fire Chain would have done that, but it doesn't anymore. But he
He
does
needs-
have
He has Wind Blast,
yeah, Wind Blast,
He
Fate's
has
Hand, Fire Chain. Yeah.
Golem, Fate's Hand, yep. So he has some options, and really the key is just to not die the next turn, right? If he can clear this turn and then not die the next turn, then he pulls a trigger on D-Shift and the game's over.
He's actually really close. Yeah, he's really close. But he can't kill with 1 destroyer. He needs to have something in the back end.
Something else, yeah.
Like a lot of something else.
Well, if the Clay Golem survives, that actually might be the single thing that he needs.
Blimey.
Well, what's that fire chain at?
3.
3?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not doing it.
So Fire Chain will kill.
What's that?
If he
4
throws
now? Oh yeah.
5.
So he can
It's a
clear.
4. Yeah, it's a 4 now. Yeah, Emilu.
My y'all.
Or not Emilu, just Lu. Sorry.
His Flame Destroyer is 0 now. So this is the
True.
thing, if
Oh,
Albert
no, a
goes
Hull
face...
Soul Sling. I think
Oh, it can't.
that the Thing Slayer still just, yeah.
Yep. So this makes it real tough now.
He has to win this turn.
Yep, he needs to draw. So he's got 8 play points. Is there any follower that he can play for not 3? For not 4. He needs to.
If that Fate's Hand was 1 less, he can Sword Cache Dimension Shift. He can play Merlin, Sword Cache Dimension Shift, play the Fate's Hand, play the Dimension Shift along next to the Flame Destroyer.
Yep.
The next turn, play the Golem.
He's got Levi, so that's
split up.
9. He needs to get 10 damage.
Well, he only has 1 extra turn, so he actually
That's right.
can't kill no matter what. He can't kill. He can only survive.
And which he's not going to do because there's 2 Alberts sitting over there.
Oh, yeah. 2 hours is it's pretty big. Ooh.
Pretty
got
good and
wrecked.
dead over. Oh!
Okay, but I don't think
Well,
that changes anything.
unfortunately, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, he still has to just go for it. D-Shift Golem here. He can put up the Golem that comes out of the... He actually gets 2 Golems, I think, out of the Golem Assault when it's enhanced, so... He will protect himself for 1 turn and push in 9.
Well,
Which
yeah.
is
Let's hope
actually,
he
if he
sees
top
that
decks
line
2
of
damage.
play.
Yeah.
This is really close.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
I could be wrong about Golem Assault. The fact that he played that makes me think that I'm wrong about Golem Assault.
Well, Golem Assault... Oh.
Does the Enhance not give you 2 Golems?
It gives you 3 Golems, but they still cost 2. So he
Right.
would
Without
have
an
only been able to play 1 Golem.
Golems out. He would have 2 Golems.
Six
costs
No,
six
he had,
for the
it cost
Enhance.
6, and then
Oh,
the
it's
Golem
10
cost
mana.
3.
Yeah, 10 mana.
2,
Yeah.
sorry. So
6
it
and
would
then
only
2
have
for
1 play
each.
point left.
Yep.
I'm over here like, he's a dragon player, he dimension shifted. He's got 10 mana.
So I think he might actually win it. There's not actually
This is
a way.
actually good though, yeah, this is very good for him.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
What is the way to clear? You have to play Albert and swing. You're just dead.
Yeah.
You
Albert
have to
swings-
defensive Albert or
Even
wholesale
if he...
swing defensive
Well,
Albert?
let's see.
Even if you defensive Albert, you're just dead, right? Because he kill.
No.
Well, he has
No.
no other way of
Yeah.
actually killing him in hand right now.
It
Because
attacks
he's only
twice,
can do 9
so-
damage if he clears the Merlin and the... Why would
My
you...
time has come.
Okay, sure. So he can... Alright, plays the Albert.
Okay,
He
yep.
clears
I think
the
this is smart
ward.
because then you save your evolve Albert.
Right. So...
Won't be long.
Okay.
And he
Oh.
can clear the other... That's why he did that. Okay. So this makes a lot of sense. So he's clearing that, taking as much damage off the board. So it makes it a little harder for him to kill.
Yep. Which is super important. The smallest differences.
But Derzello does not have a way of killing him. He doesn't have
Yeah,
any
this is
wards.
just over. 100% over.
So that was probably the difference between using the enhance one, even though you still would have only gotten 1 ward, having that second ward to try to survive a second turn. Because if you had used the witch bolt and then swung your flame destroyer to clear and had 2 wards here, or had the second instance of the ward,
Right.
then you would have won.
This is just
now
unfortunate
you're
for
just
Drizelli.
dead.
He's gonna clear like he should, but
Yep. Yep.
second Albert.
Yep. Wow, what a game, man.
That was
That was almost so
so
close.
back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that ending
Very
decision
back
is
and
so tough, right? Because that line of thinking in terms of the Guardian Golems, like, how do you ever come up with that scenario? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
gosh,
that's
Well,
what
I mean,
a
knowing
decision.
knowing both players' hands, it's a lot easier to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, like it's
Yeah.
it's not fair to say like he should have always gone for double golem there because
Yes.
of course the guy had 2 Alberts and a 3-card hand, right?
Yep.
But we know that. So like
Yep. Yep, that's absolutely right. So Praetorian actually 2-0, a very close game. Derzello tried to go twice with Dimensional Shift, and that's kind of what we're talking about. I mean, maybe you guys have some stronger thoughts about it, but Dimensional Shift in tournament play, I feel like, feels very much like a, hey, like most people will ban this out because you do not want to deal with a situation where it just blows you out turn 7, turn 8, right? But then sometimes it's actually a real struggle. How do you guys feel about Dimensional Shift in the current space right now?
Well, since things seem to be, I guess, a little bit more aggressive, I still think that Dimensional Shift is very good in the competitive meta. But unfortunately, and it did get him to third place. So it's obviously not. It's not like it didn't perform today. Didn't really perform on stream, but it didn't. It's not like it didn't perform today. So I still think that Dimension Shift is very good in the meta. He just got really unlucky that first game, and then the second game it was a line of play that it was so hard to see. Like even seasoned tournament players would have a hard time seeing that line. Like without having played that deck a bajillion times. So can't really fault him for it.
Well, the trend is Swordcraft somehow continues to win. ISFI was so correct.
And they're high rolls, man. They just roll it. The Sword just keeps doing it.
So add another matchup where Swordcraft is favored. Right? Swordcraft favored against Shadow. Swordcraft favored against Rune. In fact, actually, I think Sword in this tournament has won twice against Shadow. 2 times it came up against Shadow, and 2 times it won, and now it won against Rune. Praetorian's deck is killing it. Control Sword. And that was actually something that you guys were discussing as well. In your mind, I guess maybe Envy, you can provide some insight here, but in your mind, Swordcraft, was it the control variant that you thought would be more successful or less successful in the current meta?
Control's always had the problem of their evolves are super important. Luminous Mage helped that, but they don't have any card draw. I guess when you just always have Alberts, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
always
fine.
have Alberts.
And today we've seen Sword having the luxury of defensive Alberting every time, and then also having one to fall back on. So
That's actually a good point too. Quite a few times we saw Sword going first today, or I'm pretty sure it was always when Sword was going first, had to use the Albert to wipe board, and we were talking about how, hey, that's not super traditional. Like, typically when you're playing Alberts that early on, you're going face, right, and you're putting that pressure on, but it worked out for Praetorian multiple times here. And I wonder, it's so interesting to see. I feel like I'm at that point where I would call the West the experts of Swordcraft in many ways, and I'm really interested to see what the other regions will have to say when maybe some of these players go out to their locations and start featuring that. It's really interesting to think about. So, after the chaos of today, we've had Menso, who has been eliminated. We've had Ray, who has been eliminated right before the cutoff, and now Praetorian has gotten rid of Catch, gotten rid of Derzello, and now he's gunning for Sheepy. Between the two of these guys, I know you guys have had said Sheepy, but now that you've seen the terror that is Praetorian, do you change your mind, Aya?
I still think Sheepy's gonna win, but I'm rooting for Praetorian.
What about you, Envy?
I will say the opposite, just for dramatic effect.
Just for dramatic effect. All right. The right side of the ring is for Praetorian, and the left side of the ring is for Sheepy. So as we're kind of preparing to get this match on the way, I'd love to take some time to again remind you about some of the things that you can do to participate in the Shadowverse Open. Shadowverse.nge.io. Learn how to sign up for the tournaments. Sunday is going to be the North American qualifier, so you can still sign up and participate in that. For the European qualifiers, this week is done. We're currently broadcasting the end of it, but next week is the last week that you'll be able to qualify. And then after that, we're going to be moving into our round robin stages. Also, talk about how great Swordcraft is. You can go to @Shadowverse Game and tweet at them and say, hey, we think Swordcraft is really, really good. Also, that Albert is a really good card. I think you should buff Albert more because he's very handsome. And so you can tweet that at them or whatever else you want. But we would really appreciate that and would love to kind of have more interaction and stuff to read and look at and talk to you about. So, jumping into EXG Sheepy versus Praetorian. This is the grand finals, and it looks like Sheepy is kicking it off with a Mutagenic Bolt Runecraft Dirt deck. Did we see this? I don't know if this has always been banned.
We saw this once. Yeah.
It was the first match of the day.
This is the first game we
very
saw him
first
play.
match. Yeah.
All right. Well, tell me about this particular iteration of Dirt Rune versus Shadowcraft.
I think Dirt's favored here. It has access to Master Mage Levy, which is really strong in this matchup. Mutagenic Bolt can get rid of those sticky guys, or rather change them into rats, which I find absolutely hilarious. So yeah, I mean, I think this is in Sheepy's favor for sure.
Yeah, I'd have to agree as well. Mass Polymorph is always good against a faction that plays almost nothing but death effects, so... In fact, his entire hand right now wants to die, so...
Wow.
Right. And he's running Price of Magic, so he doesn't...
Price of
he's
Magic
like, I am
pushes that even
not
further.
losing... He's like, I'm not losing the Shadow. That's not happening.
Yeah, definitely.
He's gonna get this Magic Illusionist online really early.
Come gather round.
There it is. He's got the Ward plus the Illusionist, which is a board set that we see, I think, very often in Dirt Rune.
It's
this
unfortunately not going
Magic's
to consume a
gonna
Witch's Cauldron anytime soon, and because he's on the play, that means his hand is going to be pretty thin for a while, so...
Right. Well, he can certainly opt to use the Price of Magic on the Lurching Corpse if he wants, and then just go face. I think with this hand, you just have to be aggressive.
I actually like saving Price of Magic against someone you know is playing Attendant of Night,
That's fair too.
because that could just come down this turn, and then Price of Magic's much worse. Not to
Agreed.
mention Lurching Corpse, if it dies, it just kills, you know, Illusionist, who just comes back again, so...
Mad cyclone.
Yeah, but one of the most important keys to fighting this deck is breaking their sigils. You know,
True.
and yeah, the more you break their sigils, like the less they have to recur the Magic Illusionist or to use Halo Golem or anything like that. So, very important.
Come gather round.
Chooses not to bounce the Lurching Corpse this turn. Ooh.
No!
Well, he's
Could
not
actually completely get rid of Magic Illusionist, if he cares enough.
Yeah,
Come gather round.
and he clears out the last sigil as well.
I don't think you care enough about Illusionist, though, to pop and evolve on it. Okay, never mind. Apparently you do.
Or two,
Praetorian
because
cares.
The wheel of destiny.
Or Praetorian just wanted to see evolved Erd.
Yeah, it's got great art. I don't blame him at all.
I don't blame him either.
Agree.
Have you seen it animated?
I have not. I am not so
looks
privileged
sweet.
as to enjoy the animated Erd.
I have one. It's pretty sweet.
Dang.
That Dwarf Alchemist was actually a pretty important draw for him, because it allowed him to search for a card that wasn't useless, as he's been drawing continuously. He's gotten like 2 Red Hot Rituals when he needs impact cards as he's going into mid-game here, or he's just gonna get run over by Praetorian's cards.
This is unfortunately one of the problems with Dirt Rune is that when you're drawing well, the deck feels so good, but the deck, unlike most other decks, just bricks really hard, and your draws are... It's so hard to have good draws with it after a certain point.
Okay. Gets a pretty good draw, but Price of Magic is really strong this turn.
Yeah.
I would have played the Price of Magic here without even thinking about it.
He's held on to it until it's gotten a pretty value banish. You also get a chance to evolve Levi, or a reason to, rather, just to kill a goblin, put a lightning bolt in your hand.
Who's as old as dirt?
The Crimson Sorcery, as they say, is the word.
Just like back in the old days.
Golem gets absolutely diggity donked by old
Well, he
man
has
Levi.
9 burn damage in hand to the face.
He does,
so-
yeah.
That's a lot.
I mean, well, I think he's debating on whether or not he just burns his face now.
Right. It's actually a pretty good reason to just throw it right now, because you could draw Oz next turn, making it a better play. And you also play no spell lose cards, so just dumping that out of your hand is not the worst thing ever. But it looks like he's
Another
gonna keep
corpse, and he has a Demon Eater.
it. Yeah.
Oof.
Soul Conversion on a stick is pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Want to play?
I'm
And
not
this
against
is just
play.
looking good for Praetorian, like the whole game, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not
Another-
against that
it's his
play
third red hot.
because. Yeah, the
His third
bricks,
red
man. Oh man. I mean, certainly don't want to levy here at all. And
No, never.
oh man, this just feels awful. He's got wait, how many serves is that? Is it 3 serves in him?
I believe
yes.
so. Yep.
Yes.
Wow.
He's got all of them. I
Halo
wanted to
Golem
play
as well,
all of them
from
and
Sheep's
just.
point of view is not the worst, but it's just gonna get zombie partied. So, yeah. Unfortunately.
You know, I find a very disturbing trend. Every time we say a matchup is favored, the opposing one always.
That's definitely been the trend today. Sheepy.
Oh man, Sheepy could have used that fireball to weaken the 3-4 to a 3-1, making sure Master Mage Levi would wipe the board as no evolve was used on a zombie party.
Yeah.
But he chose to go face.
I think he's betting.
Yeah,
I think he's betting
I
on
think he's
the,
hedging on top
drawing
decking
it off.
Oz or Bolt or something and just trying to win.
Oh God.
But this
If
is
there was
this is
any
really
time
bad.
for Master Mage,
No, Master Mage still leaves the 2-3-3. He leaves it.
The 3
He'll leave
fours.
3 ones.
yep.
Yeah,
So
those do 6 damage. They do 12 damage.
Oh,
sorry,
man.
over these 2 turns.
There's
well,
no
he can.
other way.
He can. Oh,
He does get to red hot one of them.
he does do that. This feels awful. This is exactly the problem with Dirt Rune. You just get these hands.
Ooh,
So 7 damage ready to go here,
Yep.
and it could literally just be a game of playing Cerberus turn after turn and
Repeat.
then just slowly
Yeah.
chipping him to death.
right.
Which, to be honest, is exactly what I would do here. I would just shut this game out. Although, like, I think he would still have to deal with the levy, though, because if he leaves the levy in play, he could hit him in the face for the damage for 4, and then somehow, if he draws a Halo Golem, that's game. Or a Master Mage Levy,
Yeah,
or
there's
whatever.
no way you'll leave Levi a deck with a deck that can play Halo Golem and you lose. There's no way you leave it.
Right. Well,
Ooh,
well, it takes out the 5-1, but then he
that's
dies to the
unfortunately this
Cerb.
hand.
He dies to Cerberus, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one of the 3 Cerberi will add 4 damage to that.
Cerberi.
Weapons.
There it is.
Well, if he's gonna play a Cerb, it's got to be the animated one. Come on, man.
We'll
Don't
see.
play that one.
End it with class.
Oh,
Hey.
it wasn't the. Oh.
Hey. Easy peasy, dude.
So Praetorian will take the first win against Sheepy, and he is on a win streak right now. Praetorian has.
He's on a tear. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Did he 2-0 catch as well?
I think
Yeah.
so.
I don't
well, I mean, he hasn't
remember the
showed
last
Sheepy
time
yet.
he lost
Don't
a
count him
game.
out. Don't count Sheepy yet.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sheepy, I mean, a single game in the grand scheme of things in Shadowverse is not super indicative, right? As much as I like to say, now Swordcraft has a favored matchup against Shadow. As much as I like to say that, that's just not really how it works in Shadowverse. Right? So Sheepy losing the first game is now 0-1, and Praetorian is making his way into the. So what's important is if Praetorian wins this next game, they'll have to reset and do another best of 3. And that's because Sheepy is sitting on winner's side. So basically the extra life that every other player got, Sheepy gets to spend right at the end here since he's undefeated throughout this tournament. And Praetorian has to prove himself again in this matchup here. So quite a long road ahead of him, but good start.
Praetorian's going second. He's got a great hand for it. Double floral. Fusion.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's a pretty stellar hand for going second.
Might just be the tempo enough to take back the game, but again, depending on the situation and how Floral Fencer has to trade, that could just set up a situation for Master Mage Levi to.
What is going on here?
Yep, Master Mage Levi
He's not-
can kill one of them probably. True. Didn't
He's
swing
got-
for 0. Come on.
I know, right? See, someone
on,
else who
Sheepy.
gets it.
Ooh.
Swing it for 0.
It's a pretty good whole soul swing. Wiping out
You
the
should
2-2.
really remember to finish your turn before you pass, Sheepy.
Gotta swing in for 0, man. Get that psychological damage in.
I
Also,
agree.
swing made the kaleidoscopic glow.
There you
Oh,
go!
he was
Made it much
listening.
weaker. But
He was
just
listening.
did great. Yeah, dude.
Oh my god. 2 white
His
paladins.
hand is still symmetrical.
2. Oh.
Falls.
That's
He had the
upsetting.
arc going on for a second.
Yeah.
That hand over there is just... Well, it's a hand. And this is a Halo goal.
Just spells and misses.
Halo Golem slap down as fast as possible. Grimner trading into the 1-1. Pretty textbook play right there. Floral Fencer will come down, but she actually won't do too much.
Yeah, there's that Tsubaki again, but don't know what that's gonna do.
You're done for.
Tsubaki really helped
Clearly it'll
Praetorian
kill an
out.
evolved Golem again.
Loyalty is ironclad. Ow!
Onion Sheep, not in the worst of and there's the Oz, so he'll have that for later.
It's the first time we've seen that.
Yeah,
Very
it is.
powerful
You're done for.
He's gonna pop his first evolve to draw here. Even hits taboos. Yeah, he's set up.
He's
Sheepy is set up.
he's ready to go.
There's a lot of options here on the Runecraft side. And he has the Earth Runes to back it up.
Yeah, Sheepy could opt to just not even trade into that 4/3, since Master Mage Levi will kill it next turn if he plays one of these 1-mana Earth Essences. And I do believe that's what he's gonna do. Yep.
Get the damage. Yep. Come on, hit him
This
with
can
the
be
psychological damage. Come on,
incredible.
man. There you go.
If Praetorian doesn't trade, oh gosh.
Now that hand that we were like, hey man, that's a nice hand. to
Oh
get
no!
Falls.
No! Oh my goodness, the value on this Master Mage Levy, man.
Won't be long now.
Oh no. Okay, the 4/3 has to kill the 4/3. You have to trade.
Give him an inch.
You have to trade. Please, Praetorian, trade.
See the
don't know.
future, man.
Please
See the
trade!
future. See the future. Oh, he did
Oh.
it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sheepy would have just been way too happy. We can't have Sheepy being way too happy. Come on. It's still gonna be an amazing,
Oh, he played one more
absolutely
into it.
amazing fight.
Oh man. So he gave him the value anyway.
Yep.
The name's Levi. Don't forget.
Probably the best sleeve I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's a heartbreaking Levi.
It's
That's
definitely-
well, I was winning.
All that hard work burnt to a crisp.
When he just
My
wipes
sandcastle has
your
been-
entire swordboard.
All
Yeah,
right.
this is looking really nice for Onion Sheep right now.
It all ends
All right.
here.
The last Evolve Orb is gonna go into the Pirate.
With ye, skirmy
And,
dog.
Praetorian is trying to claw his way back in. We've seen crazier things today, but it's looking highly unlikely.
It's looking
think-
very unlikely, yeah.
Well, I mean, he's got piercing runes. He's got a substantial amount of burn in his hand with the 2 piercing runes. Although I think you just kind of do Professor. You play the Sigil and a Professor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, actually. You know your opponent's playing Tsubakis, and Professor's the only way to hit that stealth, so... I think...
I guess, but it
Well,
doesn't
both,
kill anything,
both,
and
yeah.
it doesn't kill anything of the Tsubaki. You don't have to evolve
Right,
the Tsubaki.
but-
You just play the
Killing the 4/1.
thing.
I think evolving Dwarf Alchemist to look for a different card, or
That's
just
fair,
playing
too.
Dwarf
That's a-
Alchemist, playing an Earth Sigil, and then playing a Piercing Rune is just good here. I don't think you have to taboos this.
We'll see. Sheepy is considering his move, and if he took long to decide whether or not to play Sacred Plea,
No, he's gonna taboos this. If this backfires,
see, I like-
Sheepy.
I like this line. More things on board.
I don't know.
He's not gonna play the Tsubaki into that. There's no way.
No, yeah, of course, definitely. Not now, but I'm talking about later. Like,
There's gonna be a later.
yeah, definitely. I mean, Praetorian's got wards up. He could have played a front guard
Yeah,
general this turn.
you're gonna get piercing ruined.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we know that.
We do indeed know that.
You know, poor Praetorian doesn't know that.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough.
Yeah, so Praetorian's just gonna look for his quote-unquote most efficient play, which is actually not to play anything, since he'll die. Oh man, not gonna play
Did play the
Tsubaki, huh?
Tsubaki. That's okay.
Totally not gonna play Tsubaki, huh?
I was wrong. I didn't think he would have Tsubaki into this. That to me
bad.
just seems insane.
You wouldn't.
Yeah, too bad he just has another Earth Sigil, and that just kills Tsubaki.
Yeah.
Long now.
I just thought that was an insane line, and he was just like, "Well, I disagree with you, Aya," and there you go.
Well, I mean, you know, you gotta make insane plays to make it to insane places, so. Hey.
Is that how it works, huh?
Yeah,
Is
that's
the
how it
grave
works.
considered an insane place?
The grave. Oh man.
I mean,
That's
second
exactly
place,
where
I
he's
don't know.
headed.
This is
Praetorian.
final. I mean, he's in grand finals. He's
I
doing good.
don't believe. No, the Swordcraft deck lost. This was not supposed to happen. What if
the
everything
first sword
spirals out
loss.
of control here? The myth is dispelled. Swordcraft
Yeah.
has a terrible matchup against Rune.
It's not the first sword loss. I think it is.
Yeah, it's the first
It's
sword
the
loss.
first
Yeah.
sword loss scene,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's likely to assume that since Praetorian's coming from a loser's bracket, he probably lost on this one, because I would not imagine anybody banning that deck, right? So, well, to be fair, it might have been his alternate deck losing twice, but it is the first sword loss that we've seen today, and Sheepy coming back and making a place for himself. So now they're both at their final deck in this best of 3. If Sheepy is to win this match, he will take first place in the second week of the European qualifiers. If it's going to be Praetorian, Praetorian will reset it and provide himself the opportunity to take first place, and that is
Brutal! No! That's not what you want.
not the worst, because Sybil can. I've seen many times where Sybil in the mid game somehow saves you, just barely, but
Just,
not cool. Very not cool.
oh my
Okay.
goodness! Well, he at least
No,
has
actually,
the
breath
breath.
onto the bladed hedgehog is actually fine. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, but he's not doing anything for, like, as of right now, he's not doing anything for a number of...
Oh god, more fights
It's
than turns.
He's not doing anything for
It'll
a
be
while.
fine.
I think what really hurts here is you're scaling up your play points alongside the Swordcraft player, and that's really what the big difference maker is, right? Because typically, Dragoncraft gets its advantage by being able to play its higher play point cards much earlier when your opponent isn't quite as strong. And now, I mean, the cards are still going to be good, but it's not quite at that timing where your opponent has kind of weaknesses because he doesn't have enough play points.
For sure.
Well,
This turn's kind of awkward this turn, though.
With-
You don't want to kill Ayala at all.
nope. But actually, with the hand that Praetorian is sporting, Onion Sheep's hand doesn't look so bad anymore.
Exactly. I told you, man. I played the Sword vs. Dragon matchup. Sword vs. Dragon is like, it's an uphill battle, man. It sucks.
I've got
Yeah.
Sword
It
vs.
is-
Dragon is like ridiculously annoying. So Sybil actually won't
actually
heal
killed-
/ ramp at all.
This is actually pretty interesting line here. He plays this. If he plays a Sybil, he evolves it trades, but he doesn't get the play point or the heal.
So vanilla 6/7.
Yeah,
newest water.
but
It's like he goes
I mean,
for
you
it.
have
vanilla
I mean,
6/7
you have-
better than nothing, I guess.
You got to take out. You can't just take 6 to the face or more. You know,
A dance to
Yeah,
make
8
the world
be halfway
great.
dead.
right?
Yeah.
You just don't. You don't want those problems.
Alright, Sybil.
He's weighing his option.
In classic Sheepy style.
Yep.
Yeah, classic Sheepy style.
Yep. Take 3 years for a 1-second decision. But at least the next Sybil that gets played will get the play point and will heal as well.
Yeah, I mean, I told you this is Dragon's game. This is Sheepy's game right now. There is quite honestly nothing Sword can do once Dragon has 7 mana. It's just over.
Judgment falls.
Well, Sword has 0 ways of dealing with Ouroboros.
Yeah. No ways to deal with Ouroboros. No ways to, I mean, outside of Albert Evolve on Pin, which is, you know, by now the single most predictable thing in the world. They have no burst damage outside of that, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna evolve. He's just like, whatever. I'm full health again.
There's no reason to evolve. You're gonna evolve, take out a 1/1? Like, it's like, what is that 1/1 gonna do that my Sybil can't just
Yeah,
heal
exactly.
off?
Safe with me.
Now, Alita's into Gabriel is gonna be Praetorian's like last little hurrah, kind of.
Away with you.
But
Once
it's
that
gonna be
fizzles
dead.
and feeds to Israfil, Praetorian will realize it's probably over.
All must come to an end.
Well, I mean, this Ouroboros is basically just saying, well, thanks for playing.
Yeah.
I'm here to stay now.
Yeah, Ouroboros comes down, puts the shades on, says GG.
Deal with it.
Say something.
Deal with it. Oh my god, look at that thing. 10-6.
The big boy right there. What does he do? Like, what does Praetorian do?
He realizes that Sword can't handle this matchup. And tries to make it
says the
not
all
happen
magic words.
ever again.
Front
The problem
guard
is
general down.
for Praetorian though, Sheepy. Yeah,
Wow.
Sheepy's some winners, so
If he wins this,
Damn.
it's over.
this is
Yeah.
just over. Yeah. Sheepy sniped the matchup. He played Dragon against Sword. He did it.
Yep.
He just plays this for Phil and just goes in.
But he'll wait 10 years to play the Israfil.
Yeah. Israfil Evolve seals the game, but I'm sure Sheepy will heavily consider what happens if he doesn't do that. Okay, or just not. Could just play Ouroboros again. You know, like why not?
Yeah. Playing Ouroboros here is fine. Kills the word. And he still can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it only slows the wind down. It just doesn't
Yeah, doesn't turn it around
do
for you.
else.
You're
Yeah,
just
exactly.
extending your defeat.
I mean, there's literally
Because realistically,
no
now that Israfil's online, there's not even that many minions that Praetorian can even summon that survive Israfil attacking. So
No. This feels awful. I've been on
Yeah.
this side as the sword player.
I played this matchup a lot.
Staring down.
This matchup sucks, dude. This is the worst.
Yeah, like as a sword player fighting dragon, man, it just feels really bad.
Alright, there's a bunch of 2-drops.
Doesn't matter.
Yep.
but novice
Israfil
troopers are
wipes
free
them
drop.
just by attacking.
Sorry,
Well,
you're right.
That was fun.
2 health
Nice
drops.
game, bro. there you go.
Yeah. I think Israfil Evolve, you put yourself to full health, Israfil stays at 10-10, you get in for 8 face damage.
The
I
next
think
turn
it's time
is
to
done.
just win the game, Sheepy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus damage to the face, but yeah.
Yeah, Sheepy, quit playing. Win the game.
He's like,
Like,
how am I
even
gonna win?
Tsubaki on that doesn't even do anything.
We're together forever.
Laser
It doesn't, yeah.
beams.
Oh.
Uh,
No
You
option
should've
out.
seen-
And starting out with the
should've foreseen
double
it.
Sybil. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Turned out
double,
to
I mean,
be-
double Sybil's good, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ramp
It's
is
good when
strong.
your opponent doesn't get an early curve.
Yes.
I mean, realistically, he did have an early curve, but drawing Salamander
Well, I
onto
mean,
the,
when your opponent isn't like swarming you with an early curve, because he didn't really put
Yeah,
that much
yeah,
pressure
for
on him
sure,
at the
for
beginning.
sure.
The idea is that,
Salamander.
I mean, when you think of the picture perfect, for example, neutral package that's happening right now in Wonderland Dreams, even by turn 5, well, we actually saw it today in Sheepy's Dragoncraft deck earlier on, right? He was taking the brunt of the aggro blood kind of early game, and he barely survived with 1 health, and that was a very perfect Bloodcraft curve, right? If you get any less than that,
And he's. Wait, why wouldn't? Okay, he just decided
still has
to
lethal.
BM him.
Exemplary.
There it is.
No,
Mr.
actually,
Phil.
the Grimner was evolved. He had to kill it. With,
No, I'm
was it
saying like he
Ouroboros?
could have just played the Breath of the Salamander on the Grimnir.
Oh, the enhanced salamander. You're
Yep.
right. Never mind.
He played
Yep.
he played the conflagration
Salamander.
and then he played the Breath of the Salamander.
Yep. That was for the style points, but there we have it. EXG Sheepy, and I believe this will be the second EXG member that will move into the qualified players list. And Praetorian actually had an incredible run off the back of a really great Swordcraft deck. And at the end of the day, he couldn't kind of make that win happen here. But all the other competitors in the tournament, he was able to defeat. So, what we have in the finals for first place, EXG Sheepy. Second place is going to be Praetorian. Third place is going to be Derzello. And fourth place will be Catch. And that will wrap up week 2 of the European qualifiers for the Shadowverse Open. Now, I think it's worth kind of talking about, as these players are going to be ones that we're going to be seeing for an extended period of time. They're going to head into the round robin phase, divided into a group, and then they're going to be playing against each other multiple times. What do you think on Praetorian's side? Would you change? Would you kind of change up his style of Swordcraft deck? What would it be if you were to match up against Sheepy again? Aya Senpai, what do you think would be the biggest thing that Praetorian needs to watch out for?
Well, Dragon, because that's what wrecked him. But the thing is, like, as a sword player, it's really difficult to like tech against Dragon without just hoping that you have an amazing early curve and you're just exploding out damage like in an early game. I mean, if you're not doing that, you're just giving Dragon the chances to play cards like Sybil or Draconic Fervor or whatever those cards is going to heal him and give him more advantage. It's you can't really allow them to do that, and when you have when you're not playing a deck that's designed to play earlier to the game, you're just making it harder for you to beat Dragon deck. So I think next time maybe he should consider that Dragon is a deck that he could come across in the tournament.
You kind of adjust for that. So Envy, for you, this whole tournament here, this whole experience after seeing EXG Sheepy finally make that win happen, what do you think is kind of the future? And obviously the changes are going to come through the next time that we're here casting the European qualifiers. What do you think do you feel confident that Sheepy might be one of the favorites to kind of take the round robin stage, or maybe are there some other talent out there that you think, based on this performance, would be able to do it? Maybe even Praetorian coming from behind, or these other players like Derzello and Catch. How did you feel about the competition today?
I think that both Sheepy and Praetorian obviously played very solid today. Once the changes happen, once, factions lose, we don't know what they're going to lose, right? Like, for all we know, Side Games could completely just axe the whole neutral package, and we basically go back to, the previous meta we were in, for all we know, right? So, until we see those changes, it's difficult to be like, okay, so Sheepy was great last meta, he'll be perfect if they do that, right? Like, it's hard to say anything like that before
Right, right. Well, we've certainly seen a lot of very competitive games today. Again, before we close out the show, if you want to participate in the Shadowverse Open, shadowverse.nge.io, definitely go take a look there. That'll tell you how to sign up for Week 3 of the European qualifiers if you want to do that. Week 2 of the North American qualifiers will happen tomorrow, so you can still sign up and play in that, as well as Week 3 of the North American qualifiers. So make sure you take your opportunity to get involved, and if you happen to take the top 4 placing in EU or the top 3 in NA, you could be in the round robin stages as well. Also, at Shadowverse Game is going to be the Twitter account that you want to tweet any kind of your stories to, any kind of your thoughts, Shadowverse or Shadowverse Open related, or anything you want to talk about. We're here to kind of read and listen and discuss. So, with that being said, another big heartfelt congratulations to EXG Sheepy. And I know for myself, Aya Senpai, and Envy Bear as well, we have had an absolute pleasure casting the second week of the European qualifiers, and we will be back tomorrow as well as next week for more Shadowverse action. So we hope to see you guys same place, a slightly different time for the North American qualifiers, but definitely follow the channel and stay tuned because more Shadowverse Open will be coming throughout the weekends. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.